Yes, good people. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. What's happening to the music? They disturb it now. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning show, specifically Chelsea Transfer Watch. We'll talk about Mason Mount, we'll talk about Hakim Ziyech. We'll seek in, analyze updates on my Hakim Ziyech, and we'll talk about what's his name again? The Brazilian 19-year-old kid that rumors are that we're looking at him. I can't recall his name right now. And then we'll talk about Moses Caicedo and then Ryan Cherki and other probably news that you will bring up in the chat. But I appreciate you all finding time to join. Sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. I'm going to say this quickly. Got a message from StreamYard. The software is problematic, and I was suspicious it was going to happen. It takes quite a few seconds for whatever I highlight to show on the screen. But that's by the way. More importantly, I hope you're all eating blue, sleeping blue, waking up blue, and overall living the blue life. I appreciate you all. Coach is here, Cherki, if that's what you're asking. Let's go. Beniza Abumne, I haven't seen you participate in the chat for a while. And Zubairu Rahman says, John Muto, okay, we were particularly impressed by Mason Mount's strong desire to join Manchester United. I'm not sure what to make of that one, I'd have to be honest with you, even though it just proves that you could say he's always wanted to join Manchester United, but that's a big up to you too, bro. I hope you're doing well. Brianni Yahayu, aka CFC, 343 Dylama, aka Vivel FC, aka Jackson FC, Contender FC, and all that. But more importantly, I hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you for finding the time to join. It's that time of the year, says Jerry Z. Unfortunately, I cannot stream it as I usually like to, as I would have loved to, because my voice, I'm still not 100% ready in terms of screaming or saying the names like I usually like to say. Just give me a second here. Let's see, what else do we have lined up here? But big up to you, Jerry Z. I hope you're doing well. And Santiago Muno, I hope you're doing well. Mount wearing the numbers 7 shirt. What a confident chap he is. Yeah, quite a lot of weight on his shoulder. But let's see, maybe he's able to carry it. Mason Mount, yeah, you're new number 7. Congratulations to you. You got your man, and we got our money. He really thinks that he's like a big Ronnie. I don't care how he thinks. I think my argument is that you know they held a series of conversations or talks, if you prefer, and we're not able to come to an agreement. So both parties are going their separate ways, and that's just that. The players were gassed in training in the first day. A lot of work seemed to be required to fix their fitness. Poor work done by Potter and Lambs. I don't want to, honestly, I prefer not to talk about the two managers before Mauricio Pochettino. I'm just happy he's here. I think his interview, you could argue, sets the tone with regards to what we will see under him. I think he's a great manager. Morning to you too, Santiago Muno. I hope you're doing well. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We'll have 20 likes. We should be doing better than that. Let's get 300 likes a day. I think we ended with, was it 160 or 170? I don't remember. That's normal when players are back for preseason. You could argue that. And Kevin James, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. And big up, everyone. Let's see what else we have here. It's afternoon. It's morning for me. It's still 4:43 a.m. Yeah, preseason fitness. I wouldn't look into it much. They all just landed from their holidays. Lots of them. And some of them, I think, are allowed, you could say, what's the term I'm looking for? Some of them were granted extended holidays, probably because they got involved in their respective countries' international assignments and all that. Bruno Salto will remain at Chelsea and work under Mauricio Pochettino. Why? Here's the thing. I think they like him. I think they see something in him that they like. And believe me, the club would not opt to keep him if Mauricio Pochettino doesn't okay that. So they probably must have had a conversation with him, and he agrees to accommodate him. It's just like that. And if you remember when Potter was fired, he took over. He took charge of a game immediately after Potter's firing. So that doesn't mean he's a bad manager. Sometimes you have assistant managers who are actually better than the top guy himself, if that makes sense. Not keep the failure from the past, or be a part of the coaching team. Yeah, I don't think his stay means anything, or it makes any difference, or maybe can cause Mauricio Pochettino to fail at Chelsea. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. I've seen that. I'm going to try to scroll to the very bottom as soon as possible. No more Mount FC. Starling next. Here's the thing. It's a Chelsea thing. The truth remains, I think the fans would turn on someone else who underperforms. But let's see. I'm not going to go to the extent of talking about that right now. I hope we did not just let another De Bruyne go. Even if that turns out to be the case, he wanted to leave. Like I've said this a million times. The Mount camp and the club, they held a series of meetings or talks, if you prefer, negotiations, if that's the language you prefer, and they were not able to come to an agreement. It's as simple as that. Mount, you can say both parties with their respective interests, something they want an outcome that will favor them. You can say being specific, their respective pocketbooks, if that makes sense. It's business for all parties involved. Even if that turns out to be the case, yeah, so be it. We'll move on. The guy who took charge for one game against Liverpool, remember? Yeah, I remember him. He will be an assistant under Poch. You guys, I'm not worried. Poch has the final say. No, I'm not worried. So, but there's something the club must have seen in him that's led to them deciding that they want to keep him. We've seen that before. That's not the first time such has happened at Chelsea. We've seen managers when we've seen situations where Roman Abramovich fire managers and keep their assistants. So I'm just going to move on from that. It's not an issue for me. Welcome, Kachila. Welcome to you, to Kevin James. Caicedo's deal is on 75% upfront plus 10 million in add-ons. You have to elaborate. Where did you get that from? The source. We want to know. França is much needed. Do you think he'd be part of the first team? He's just 19-year-old, isn't he? So I just don't know. Maybe let's see what the club does. Even better than Cherki and Vega. That's just your opinion. For me, I haven't had the time to compare them to decide which of them is better. The three of them. Cherki already, from what I've seen, Cherki is actually better than Vega. That's just my opinion. Let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes will go a long way. And if you're watching, but for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat, just remember, we do appreciate you and thank you, because you watching alone does you can say does go a long way for the community. But if you can do us one more favor, which is just to take a second to drop a like on the stream, that will would really appreciate that. But that is just announced on Twitter that he has joined them. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Good morning, Kachila. Good morning to you too. A lot of people miss all this your music, the sweet body. You be DJ. I know be DJ without this sync, but maybe something we're going to talk about now. I think we're connected sometime. I can show you a sample. Big up to you too, Chelsea, meet your boy, my bro. I appreciate you finding the time to join, and I cannot thank you enough for that donation yesterday. And I look forward to collaborating with you and see how we can help each other grow. Let's see what else we have here. What's up, y'all? I'm here. Telvin Chamaril, nice to see you. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. I saw many comments on IG, Instagram, Twitter, that some Manchester United fans disagree about him taking the number 7 shirts. It makes sense that will be happening right now. Even some of them don't like him. Some don't like that they're paying that much money for him. If that makes sense. A big up to you, Mr. Troublemaker, Glenn 10. Nice to see you. Good morning. That reminds me of a movie I just don't recall. But big up to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well. By the way, hi there, Coach. Good afternoon from my place. Maybe it's morning at yours. Yeah, it's morning here. It's still 4:49 a.m. But thank you for saying that. Why we talking about Mount? He's not a Chelsea player. People would want to talk about him. We want to have that conversation. You can say, as we seek a closure, maybe, and then you can say, have that conversation today, get done with it, and move on from it. But it's not going to be that simple for most people, if that makes sense. Just have a see. Okay, have to see a documentary of Poch when he started with sports. I am less concerned now. I have never been concerned really. I've always known he's a good manager, that he actually overachieved at Tottenham. But that's just my opinion, and I've always believed if we make the right signings at this particular transfer window, I think it actually lead us to do better than a lot of people expect us to do. And I hope that happens. Mount, Havertz, even Ziyech and Pulisic all played important parts to our team and helped us have great memories. That's just the truth. But for one reason or the other, it hasn't worked worked out for some of them at Chelsea. And some just want to leave, some seek new, you could say, new challenges. And and they've gotten their wish. So be it. I don't hold, you can say, grudges against any of them, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. 28 likes. We should be doing better than that. And the poll that says Mount has joined Manchester United. How do you feel about that? 64% says good riddance, and 21% says Chelsea will regret letting him go, and 14% not sure how I feel. I think I used the wrong word there, but that's, by the way, big up Chan. By the way, I didn't forget y'all. You forgot them, and I'm sure they paid attention to that. So you're in trouble, Glenn. I moved on weeks ago with Mount. Once a player goes, he goes. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Couldn't agree more with that. But here's the thing: I've also moved on weeks ago, but I have a show to host, and I'm quite sure people want to talk about it. There are some certain, you could say, aspect of the situation or comments that have emerged that I'm sure people would want to talk about. For me, look, I'm not, for instance, I'm not into slating, you could say, slandering Mount for his ability, or getting into argument whether he's a good player or not. I have a different argument actually with regards to how things his career have overall have how things have panned out. You could say, for him as a footballer. But that's, by the way, that's another argument for another day. Fergie rates Poch highly. He even wanted him at United before they settled for Ten Hag. Okay, they've missed out on him, and we have him now. I hope we could secure Caicedo's deal this week or so. We can see him in preseason. So more importantly, so he's part of the preseason, and be prepared to start the season with us. Because if it doesn't participate in the preseason with us, then it becomes difficult for him to hit the ground running. If that makes sense, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 28 likes. Let's get the likes up, get it to 100, and shoot for 300 today. According to Julian, Poch will choose the new captain before the trip to the United States. Favorites for the role includes Reece James and Kepa, while Thiago Silva is considered less likely due to his contract. It doesn't matter if he has just about 6 years left on his contract. I think it'd be, for me, in my opinion, disrespectful to look beyond him when considering who becomes our next captain. I think he should, even if he has just 10 days left on his contract. That's just my opinion, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along with. Yes, Coach, I was concerned because our squad is so young. But Poch started with young players. Yep, that has always been a thing. Like Winks at 21, and Kane, Vertonghen, Jan Vertonghen, that's the Belgium international back in the day, and who since he was at Tottenham, always top four. Yep, even though he was, you could say, ill-equipped, not properly equipped to get into that level, but he was very effective with what he had to work with. Thiago Silva will be captain with James next in line. I think that makes sense. it will not make any sort of sense, you can say, to look beyond Thiago Silva when considering who becomes the next Chelsea FC captain. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go a long way. We have how many likes right now? 28 likes. Remember, we're shooting for 300 likes. So let's make that happen. I think França will be a good backup from Nkunku, and Cherki will be a good competitor to Madueke Stalin on the right hand side. And you don't sign and we don't. By the way, we don't use the term backup here. But I wanted to say that you don't sign a player who's as good as França, and at the age of 19, keep him on the bench. I think you will. What's the term I'm looking for? I think that will not be good for his development. He needs to be playing as often as possible. So I'd rather we sign him and let him go out on loan if we don't have a place for him in a current squad. So it wouldn't make any sort of sense to keep him and on the bench. That will not be good for his development, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along with 29 likes. And my bro, Mitchell Boy says no Starling jokes today. Glenn, yeah, Glenn likes to joke. Sterling, how do I pronounce that one? I'm not too sure. But that's, by the way. Let's get into the topics we have lined up. And the first one, you know that, like I said, of our systems, we need to, you can say, find closure and move on, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. All right, it's this one here. The first one, I want to read this comment to you, and I want to get your opinion on what you make of it. I think we have about three, you can say, reports, or you could call them comments with regards to Mason Mount's departure. This here says Mason Mount's father, Tony Mount, had a phone conversation with Chelsea co-owner Todd Boehly and Behad Iqbali to smooth the path to an agreement with Manchester United. There had been friction between the groups over the deterioration. Sorry, I can't say that word. The deterioration of Mount's relationship with Chelsea's power broadcast. So sources familiar with the situation say that led to Boehly and Iqbali digging their heels in over a high price, starting at £70 million plus add-ons. To me, I think there's nothing too much there. But the only thing is the fact that the father he had to get involved to ensure that Mount, you can say, gets his wish of moving to Manchester United. You could argue his father's wish of him joining Manchester United, because the rumors are that there are some people suggesting that his dad is probably the one that's pushing him to leave Chelsea and go to Manchester United. But for me, I wouldn't go to that extent. However you say that, from my perspective, I just say it. I say, you could say, two parties that tried to find an agreement and couldn't, and end up going their separate ways. For me, it's as simple as that. Let's see what else we have here. But why Silva? But why Silva making the captain means next year we make a new captain? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Silva will play mostly on the bench. Just make a captain who will have a continuity. I'm not sure what to make of that argument. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. And also do drop, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Morning all chatters, morning to you too, bro. Silva plays every game if he can. And so if he's captain and on the bench, then James will be captain. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah, just as when Cesar Azpilicueta isn't playing, someone else, or you can say, will have the captain's armband. France's position is a central attacking midfield and right wing, while Cherki is more versatile and can play in all positions in the attacking area. He's also good with both feet. Yeah, I think your phone is helping you type there. You're using the word she to reference a male. Tony Mount is a United fan. Yeah, I learned about that. You can say this transfer window. Silva will not play regularly. He's too old to play in Pochettino's system. That is just your opinion. Believe me, I'd be surprised if he doesn't start games whenever he's fit, because or whenever you can say he doesn't need to rest, because he's the most experienced. And I think we need that leadership in our defensive line. Otherwise, we have a problem. Silva will not play. I agree with you, but as long as he's rested and ready to go, I think he starts. Welcome to Chelsea Football Club. For Mount complaints, press 1. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Mount left as he thought he could achieve under Ten Hag, who will eventually be sacked before the end of the season. You think? Okay, let's see what happens. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 32 likes. Let's get the likes up and try to get it to 100 and shoot for 200 and even more. Silva for captain. So we're making resumes. We're making risk captain. Let's see a full season without 2 months out injured first. Yeah, exactly. Since you presented the argument that Silva won't be playing all the time, are you sure that James will be fit whenever we need them? If that, yeah. So since you presented that argument, here's a counter argument to that, if that makes sense. To be captain, leadership qualities. You have that in Thiago Silva. You have pedigree also, not just his leadership abilities. He has won nearly you can say nearly everything that you can say club. Yeah, he's won everything there is to win club level. Just on international level, all that he likes is the World Cup, and that's just that. The beautiful game. Nice to see you, brother. Big up, coach. They say you should never work with family and animals. I think we are okay in this instance because snakes are reptiles and rats are rodents. Wow. And rats are rodents. Wow. Wow. I'm not sure you're going to go to heaven. I would ruin my kid's career. I couldn't keep my mouth shut. You'll be like a Christian Pulisic or father, wouldn't you? Here's the thing. Even if you go to games where dads and moms, especially dads, drive their kids, you can say to soccer practice. Let me use that word soccer because it's very common here. And you see them fighting the coach actually sometimes, or cussing the life out of the coach and all that. So that's why you don't get family involved in such cases. If that makes sense. I understand the club. Okay, I'm not sure. I think that's a bit jumbled up there. Coach, money to you too, Chelsea Blue. Finally, we can move on from Mount. It's gone. Kai is gone. A fresh start now for everyone. But we need closure. That's why we have to have that conversation. But I urge us all to try as much as we can not to slander Mount. We just have to look at the situation and try to make sense of everything we're seeing out there. We're not here to talk about whether Mount was good for Chelsea or was good at Chelsea, or whether Mount is a good player or a bad player. We're just here to discuss the situation, discuss his departure. You can argue why we think he left us. What led to him not signing a new contract and all that? That's what we're here to do. We're not here to slander him or just 1 second here. I think I made a mistake there. We're not here to slander him or discuss whether he's a bad footballer or a good footballer. No. So let's see what else we have here. Let's see who else we have in the chat. Who will be listening to Crocky Youth that hasn't won a title yet? I'm not sure what to make of that comment. Can you rephrase it so I can understand what you're saying? It's so weird that Chelsea fans on the Mount stand want a Chelsea Football Club to fail. Unfortunately, there are people who's gone to that extent. There are people because they you can say they follow Mount religiously. They don't consider the fact that Mount's come in the Chelsea hierarchy, that they've held a series of talks, a series of negotiations, if you want, or conversations, if you prefer, and we're not able to come to an agreement. Which happens all the time. So the next thing will be for both parties to go their separate ways, and that's exactly what happened. Mount wants what's best for him. The club wants what's best for the club. It's as simple as that. And if they cannot find an agreement, we'll move on. Sick of Mason Mount. Clearly, he left for the bag, and end of story. Yep, which is entitled to. He doesn't particularly wish Chelsea well, and I don't wish him well at Manchester United. We'll all move on. No hard feelings. He's an enemy now in terms of in footballing sense. Whenever he plays against us, I wouldn't want him to do well. It's as simple as that. That's all I can say for right now. But Bobby, more importantly, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for finding time to join the show. I hope you're recovering better. I appreciate you finding the time to join. I've read that comment already, so let me see what else we have here. Coach, Chelsea fans don't even have to slander Mount. He got the number 7 for Manchester United. Let them complain. Thank you, Mount. Yeah, thank you. It's as simple as that. We move on. Coach, Mount's salary is 185K a week and not the reported 250K a week per week. Does that make things worse? Didn't we offer him 200K a week? Wow. Let me start by saying, if that's the case, then I'm short of words. I'm not sure what to say, really. Maybe his current, maybe his United salary is incentivized. I think that's a term, the correct term. Maybe it depends on how well he does and if he gets to win stuff and all that. But it doesn't make any sort of sense if that's really the case. So, which means he really wanted to leave, not because of money, like his camp. We've heard, I think about a month ago or so, we heard something from his camp saying it's not really about how much Chelsea is offering him as his weekly salary. That is beyond that. Some are saying it's about it's been about the image rights and all that. I just don't know. That is far worse. But I heard it is 250 at United. Not too sure. Let's give it a few days and we'll find out. I think it's public information. Why not do something unconventional and go for Enzo? Excuse me. Oh my gosh! I hope I can still speak. And go for Enzo or Modric as the new captain. No, no. What are you saying? I don't want us to do that. That is seriously a huge risk. I wish Mason Mount all the best. Choma, nice to see you. I think you had a comment there. Did I read it or probably didn't say hello to you? Okay, you said hello, everyone, and I didn't respond. Apologies for that. Because I wish him all the best, but when he plays against us, I hope he falters. That's just me being a Chelsea fan. Chelsea versus Manchester United and Tottenham are 4 home and away fixtures that are most interesting. Will be most interesting in the coming season. Wouldn't mind Enzo as a captain. He's vocal enough. No, communication will be an issue too. I don't think his English is perfect at this point. Here's the thing. It's simple. It's either Thiago Silva or Reece James. And if Kepa is still at the club, before he gets to Enzo, I think Kepa will be considered, if that makes sense. Good evening to you too. Stanley Mado, nice to see you. That sounds like an Igbo name. Please let me know if that's the case. Hello to you too. Mason Mount will cook with number 7. Okay, let's see what happens. Manchester United offered Mount number 7 shirt. That's huge. He was a huge marketing figure for Chelsea. Yep, and I think here's the thing. For being honest, I think Mount, he knows his worth in terms of his him being a marketing figure. Being English, he's more than just a footballer for United, just as he was for Chelsea Football Club. So those are, before being truthful, so he knows that. So overall, you can say, let me just end it by saying he knows his worth. And that's why if he's asked for more, you can argue he has every reason to do that. But that's besides the case, actually. He's left Chelsea and a lot of people aren't happy. Mount was underpaid for many years. And that's because he refused to sign a new contract. I think we've had an offer on the table for him for a while. Reece got one. We went to Reece with an offer, and he accepted it immediately. And the club want to build a new salary structure. That's the part you have to pay attention to. And probably he didn't like that and had to move on. Even if Mount deserves the money, it's not the way the club wants to work anymore. So I understand the club, and you understand him too. It's as simple as that. You can say they were again. I'm going to keep repeating this because that's just a fact. They held series of meetings, talks, conversations, negotiations, whatever language you prefer, and were not able to come to an agreement. It's as simple as that. They move on. I honestly hate going beyond that, but the truth remains, we need to find closure by having a conversation and move on. And then we'll talk about him when next we play Manchester United. Poch, Bobby, that is Mitchell Boy saying hello to you. Can Pochettino make himself as an interim captain? I don't know. What are you doing this morning? What are you doing this morning, Code Web? Leave me alone, please. Coach, I hope Bali knows we need a Caicedo now. I think we know that Caicedo will probably be our most important signing this transfer window. I think that's why you can say the club are pushing to get the deal over the line as soon as possible. Yeah, Caicedo is the club's priority at this time, if that makes sense. Rice to Arsenal, Mount to Man United, Kai to Arsenal. We ain't looking too good on the transfer window so far. I like it. You ended it with so far because there's still a long way to go. The fact that you haven't, you can say, I don't know, for lack of a better term, maybe let me just use convincing signings. We haven't made any convincing signings yet. Fans are concerned. If that makes sense. Are all the people overlooking Silva and James of captaincy drinking something too strong for your system? Go away. You know I want to go to heaven, so don't get me to read such comments again. Coach, if he didn't like that, then what is the point of being a proper choice? For the first time he didn't like everything. You could say you suggesting he should have walked away at the time. Here's the thing. I'm not sure what to make of that, really. He's gone. It's okay. And Natalia Lobosia, congratulations to you again. Finally, you were able to reach out and you got your $100 giveaway. You were the first person to win the Stay in School giveaway, which the project we started to support students who are in school. I'm happy. Finally, you've reached out and we get it sorted out as soon as possible. Yeah, and he said the verification process took 11 years, but it was just under a day. I asked you a few questions and verified your user ID, and congratulations to you, brother. It's okay for him to go. There are players out there that can function like Mason Mount and do even better. We sold Eden Hazard to Real Madrid, and we won the Champions League without him, if that makes sense. So Chelsea is the club I support, and players come, players go, managers come, managers go, and Chelsea will remain the same. And I support whoever comes in next, if that makes sense. Mason will get sick of the rainy Manchester United and cold. Wow. That's I'm sure that will be a list of his concerns. Let's look at the next comment that we have lined up here with regards to Mason Mount's departure from Chelsea to Manchester United. 1 second before I move on, I've forgotten to share the link. Usually, okay, I've done that actually. I do that after catching up with what we have, the initial, you can say, contributions in the chat. Mason Mount had initially told teammates he wanted to stay, but as the weeks went on and irritation over the club's approach took hold, the prospect of leaving became a reality. Chelsea had reached a verbal agreement with Mount on a long-term deal before the World Cup started last November, but then pulled their offer in January and instead put a formal one-year contract on the table in February. Given this at one time, probably then again you could say. Was they you can say Chelsea at one point didn't trust him that much, as they weren't too sure whether you could say I don't know, for lack of a better term, he will measure you can say, the sort of a salary they had on the table for him and change their mind. And if we're being honest, if I were Mount, I'd do the same. if you had an offer for me, and if we had an agreement in place, a verbal agreement in place before the World Cup, and when I again after coming back from the World Cup, you came back to me saying, we're sorry, we've changed our mind. We're offering you just a 1 year extension. I'd say no too, if we're being honest here. And if you say otherwise, then you're not being truthful to yourself. Even I get it. It's not been you can say it's not been in the greatest of form. I get it, but to me that's simple disrespectful, and I wouldn't take it. If given what we're looking at on the screen here, and if you're there, tell me the truth. Look beyond how you can say how bad Mount was last season and all that. Look at the comment on the screen and be truthful to yourself. If you were Mason Mount and you had an agreement, a verbal agreement in place with the club, and then you left for the World Cup, and when you came back, they came back to you saying, "We're sorry, we're changing our mind. We've decided to offer you just to offer you just a year extension." Would you accept that? I will not, honestly. But that's besides the argument right now. But I want to get your thoughts if you're in the chat. What do you make of this report here? I stopped talking about Mickey Mount. I wouldn't even call him that. It's also like that in London, bad weather. It's England. Thank you for saying that. In United Red, we have a sister channel called Soccer Perspective. We do talk about every other club there, not just a Chelsea Football Club. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing to that particular channel, we'd really appreciate that. But thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's England. It's the same everywhere. Coach, let's talk something positive then. That the trade of Mount. Wow. But we have to be honest. We have to be truthful here. I'm just telling you what I'd do if I were Mason Mount too. Let's see what else we have here. Tony Mount guided the process with Mount's agent Neil. Is that Neil Felwins, providing assistance and attended games at Old Trafford. What else am I looking at here? At Old Trafford, as United began their persuasion strategy. Mount, who's that? Muto. I can't pronounce that name. Met Mount Senior in London after United had beaten Bournemouth on May 20th to effectively clinch a Champions League qualification, and personal terms were agreed at the time. But that's, by the way, we'll move on to that. And here's the United fans saying, but I did not want Manchester Mount, though. I think a lot of Manchester United fans don't want him, if we're being honest. Yeah, no matter what Chelsea are doing, as a proper Chelsea who was bred from the academy, he must understand what Chelsea requires and should abide by that. No, I disagree in the sense that it's business for the fact that it's business for all parties involved. During negotiations, Mount's camp will be seeking an outcome that will benefit Mount, and the club also will be seeking an outcome that will benefit the club. It's all about, you can say, both camps are pocketbooks, if that makes sense. For lack of a better term, it's simple as that. I like being as subjective as possible. For me, I'm going to repeat myself again. I just see it as, you can say, they've held a series of conversation, talks, negotiations, and we're not able to come to an agreement. It's as simple as that. And both parties, you can say, have gone. Both parties have gone their separate ways. And sorry, my throat is still hot quite badly, so I'm just trying. Finally, Mount Stan was able to go with him to United. Seriously, can you elaborate? United fans are trying desperately to convince us that Mount is going to bang at Old Trafford. Doesn't this remind you of when we used to defend Mount against Foden? The argument that Mount is better than Phil Foden. They have no idea what's coming. Here's the thing. I hope he does well, but not against us. Mount with that robotic Ten Hag. Good luck. Let's see what else we have here. But they will still do better than 12. Okay, you're trolling right now. Subscribe to Soccer Perspective. That's our the sister channel where we cover every other football club and international games and all that. Not just Chelsea Football Club. As the name implies, Soccer Perspective. No slander, Mr. Polito way, but yeah, no issues with Mason Mount leaving. He felt disrespected, and I can understand that. And I said, honestly, if I were Mount, I'd do the same. He's good, works hard. I don't get the hate for him. A breach too far for me is the video message. I didn't know Messi left us pretentious. But thank you. Here's the thing: the message I didn't like. Should I say it's just bland. I'm not sure what to make of it, but that's maybe because you can say preconceived notion of the situation has led a lot of people to expect too much from his message, and that didn't happen. But that's, by the way, I want to bring in Roger immediately. Roger, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. I know you have other responsibilities and bills on pay themselves too. But big up, hola, señor. Gracias and welcome. I've left you no Spanish.
¿Cómo estás, señor? Hola. Listen, first and foremost, this United Red chap, does he live in Britain? Because everyone that lives in Britain knows that if you live in the south and you drive up to the Midlands and you pass Birmingham, it rains more the north you go. So that's a misnomer. We have what is called microclimates here, just like in the San Francisco Bay Area. So yeah, it rains less in London than it does in Manchester or Liverpool. That's a fact. So it's noticeable when you're driving. It rains a lot more. So I don't know where that person's coming from. So just to
let's be honest. Let's start you with this one. If you were Mount,
I agree with you 100%. Listen,
yeah, I'd say I'd move on too. But
I don't know about moving on, but it's the principle of you have a verbal agreement. And I know, listen, this isn't Victorian times, but usually a verbal agreement is exactly what it is. You've come to an agreement. It just hasn't been put on paper, contractually speaking. So
just quickly, Roger, because I want to shut down this poll. The poll that asked the question, Mount has joined Manchester United. How do you feel about that? 63% says good riddance. Chelsea, the 22% says Chelsea will regret letting him go. And and 60% said not sure how to feel. But go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I didn't use that poll. And so here's the deal. And so if I'm Mount, hypothetically, and Chelsea have offered me a verbal agreement to a contract, and then they, for all intents and purposes, renege on it, withdraw it, and then put a 1 year, which they have a right to, of course. However,
they have the right to offer how much they can afford.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what they can afford, or what they're comfortable offering to Mount. But go ahead.
But I would say the vast majority of verbal agreements aren't reneged on. So when you usually agree on something in principle, you shouldn't renege it unless there's been an error made, unless one of the accountants or one of the negotiators, one of the financial people have made an inadvertent mistake. Then based on if there's a salary cap, for instance, which there isn't in the Premier League, or I know there is in Spain, if I'm not mistaken, but in Britain there isn't. So there's no reason to renege it. So that it wasn't done by error. Therefore, I would feel somewhat aggrieved on that. But I think, listen, I'm assuming this. I don't know for a fact, but his father's a United fan, correct? And I think his father was bending his ear. I think if his father, conversely speaking, if his father was a diehard Chelsea fan, he may not have left.
You could argue his father made it easier for that to happen.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Now, listen, it depends on. Listen, he has been underpaid. He was earning less than or about half what, for instance, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was making. And so.
But has been reluctant to sign a new contract.
Yeah, he hasn't been compensated as such. And he was, even though, yes, I admit he won twice consecutively the Player of the Year for Chelsea, even though I think the second year should have gone to Silva, but he was still playing at a very high level, and he was instrumental in Chelsea winning tournaments. So, listen, he's not a Messi, but he's not a Roger either, So, listen, it's money, it's a job. His body is his office, it's that simple. And so it should be looked at through sterile lenses. However, take the emotion out of it is what I'm trying to say. However, you expect, we expect loyalty from players, but conversely speaking, the players should expect loyalty from the club, but there is none because this is business. So you have to look at this through the prism of business. Okay, the people are probably very emotionally offended by him joining United, whatever. But he's only doing what's best for him and his family. So
it's business for all parties involved. It's as simple as that.
Yes, it is. There's very few exceptions to that rule. I mean, there are players that play not for the money, that just because they love it. Like I'm sure Silva could get more money anywhere, but he plays for the love of a game. I think we should respect him, and I think we should thank him for what he's done for Chelsea. Do I want him to go? No. Do I want him to go to Man United? Definitely not. Am I disappointed he's gone to United? Yes, but you know what? They have deep pockets. They are one of the two.
They pay better than us.
Well, yeah, but you know why? It's because they have shares on a public stock exchange. Only I think Real Madrid and United have that. So they have very deep pockets. They can afford that. They're one of the two richest clubs in the world, primarily, that we know of, because there are some clubs that obviously are run by nations we don't know of. So listen, I would have liked for him to stay. I think you have to look at our negotiating team. When I say I'm talking about Chelsea. I think they are the ones that have been erroneous. They are if anyone's to blame for this, the breakdown in negotiations, you have to put this on the Chelsea hierarchy. Just being, I'm not slamming the new owners or anything like that, but it seems like that this is a mistake in their making, not in Mount's. He didn't renege on the deal. He didn't agree verbally, then said, you know what? No, I want more. No, he didn't. So it was Chelsea's hierarchy that did that. So the blame, if any blame is to be apportioned to anyone, it should go on. I don't know whether it was the executives or whether it was Bowley or whomever. I don't know. But whoever was representing Chelsea, they are to blame for this, if anyone is to blame. Listen, in negotiations, this happens. It's most of the time, no one is to blame. It's just both parties can't come to agreement. It's as simple as that. Move on.
That's how I like to see it. But here's the thing, Roger. Let me say something I said quickly. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, don't be.
We're having this conversation because we need closure. We need to have the conversation, get it over with, and move on. Because otherwise, you can say there's no stream you'd go to without talking about Mason, that you wouldn't see them talking about Mason Mount moving to United. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's the same for me with Kai. It's because you listen. They may have peaked already. We don't know. But statistically speaking, these two haven't reached their peak yet. They have the potential to raise the bar, to raise their ceiling. And I would not as a person, don't get me wrong. I'm not being animus here. I'm not being vitriol at all. I would want them both to succeed and grow as professional and as people individually also. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying it would have been nice for them to have stayed at Chelsea and reached their potential, because I personally don't believe that they have reached their potential. So it would hurt for me to see them, especially in an Arsenal and a bloody United shirt, if they can excel and become the players I believe they can be. That's what would irk me more than anything. And I think most Chelsea fans would agree.
All right, let me catch up with what we have in the chat. I'll come to Bobby because I know he doesn't have too much time. Probably will not be
Bobby.
Here for too long. But Bobby, big up to you. I'll be back to you. Coach, now you know why I just had to remix his message on Twitter. I'll look at it again one more time. I think Red United is saying he lives in England. We are waiting for Caicedo, Dixon Donut. I think that will happen. So doesn't it rain in London? Okay, but that's what we're not here. This is not a weather show. Roger hitting them with the weatherman slang. Thank you, Roger, for being the weatherman on the show today. Mason negotiated with an inexperienced owner. So when the right people came, negotiation had to be reviewed due to poor form. If he was banging in goals, the negotiation would have been different. I think that's a first delicious comment of the day. Had he been in great form or in good form this past season, I think we would have seen again a different outcome right now. Probably he'd be staying at season. He'd be staying at Chelsea, especially if overall we win like the Champions League, win the league, or do well. I think he would have stayed. But yeah, it is what it is today. Roger, don't you think Mount would have rediscovered himself on the pitch? We all know that. I think we've talked about that 1,000 times.
I think there's a strong possibility. I think he would have. I think Mason Mount is the prototypical Poch player. I think he would fit in very well.
And we've talked about that 1,000 times, actually.
He fits the profile, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. And our new young squad has more potential. And I just quickly, Pochettino would have been the man actually to get Mounted to actually do more than just run around on the pitch, and do more than just do lots of press and look beyond his industry and recognize this kid has to learn a lot more. But that's just my argument. Yes, that's true. Tony Mount is a United fan, and he pressed the choice of United on Mason Mount. That is just what we think happened. Yeah, Mason coming to Manchester United. Thank you. Why are you angry? You got lots. Yeah, we got money. We're not angry. We just again finding look. It's taking closer here. If that makes sense. Mount and his sorry.
I'm not angry.
I'm not. Yeah, I think he's talking to someone that's in the chat. Mount is and his PR company are pushing the agenda. All parties is, trying to, you can say, find a way to make people believe nothing is their fault. Overall, I'm happy. We got good money. Both Kai and Mason are not irreplaceable. It's as simple as that. We were able to move on from Hazard and won the Champions League without him, actually. Mount, not a generational talent. I blame his father. Like you just said, a lot of people blame him. Mount's gonna rain on your okay. He is Dele Alli in disguise. I think he has more to his game than Dele Alli, if we're being honest. The deed is done. No need of crying over a spoiled milk. Let the board learn their lessons. Oyedikachi, if that's the way you say it, I hope they do. Roger, if his body is his office, then his out of office has been for 2 years. Roger, I think every time you say something, you know exactly what you want doing. You just want him to say something. So I'm going to catch up with a few people that I haven't read their comments, so I can bring in Bobby to speak, because we don't have too much time today. Coach, I hear that Mason Mount has come to Manchester United. Yeah, it has happened, and nice to see you, Patrick Joyce. Big up, Coach, big up to you, to the panel, and everyone in the chat. What have I missed so far? What has been discussed? Just Mason Mount. He's gone, and I'm sure you know that. But more importantly, DJ, nice to see you. It's close, bro. He's gone. Let us look at the next player, bro. We'll move on in a bit. I agree with Nathaniel. Why is he at Manchester United? Because they paid us the money we want. 1 hour talking about Mickey Mount. Unfortunately, we have to. Let's see what else we have here. And after Bobby speaks, then we'll move on from Mount. To me, Mason Mount is not a consistent player. He cannot deliver 5 games consistently. Wow. Here's the thing.
Who can, though? Name your player for Chelsea that can.
Yeah. Good morning, John Port. Quickly, you won the last student giveaway that we did for last month. So you have to reach out via Twitter. Just show proof that you're a student. But I said I promised I was going to make an exception for you because of what you're doing with your channel and the program. You're helping lots of young kids in Jamaica, giving them opportunities. So you won $50. Reach out via Twitter. Let's see how I can get that to you as soon as possible. Good morning to you too, John Potts. Mount only has 9 open play assists in Premier League in total. Is that what you're saying? But I don't want to argue that right now. So Bobby, coming to you quickly so we can move on from the Mount argument. Where do you want to start? But more importantly, Bobby, I want you to address this. If you were Mason Mount and this happened, what would you do? Being honest. And I'm saying the truth. I'm just saying to most of us, you can say, if this happens, if you were in Mount's shoes at the time, I think you'd do the same. You'd seek to move on. You feel, let me just start by saying you'd feel disrespected. Let's start from there. What you do next is what I can now tell. But as humans, if this happens, you'd feel disrespected. But go ahead, Bobby.
I can't read that.
Hola,
What is
Bobby.
it?
You want me to? Okay, let me read it for you. Let me read that for you. It says Mason Mount had initially told the teammates he wanted to stay, but as the weeks went on, and irritation over the club's approach took hold. The prospect of leaving became a reality.
Okay.
Chelsea had reached a verbal agreement with Mount on a long-term deal before the World Cup started last November, but then pulled their offer in January and instead put a formal one-year contract on the table in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who posted that? Who posted that?
No, let's just start. Let's assume it is the truth. It is reported by Laurie Whitwell that writes for the Athletic.
Okay, can I land on this now? Because
Yeah, land safely, please.
A long time avoiding this Mason Mount garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It irritates me. I didn't really want to comment on it, but it's everywhere, so I will. And I thought, okay, let me just keep my powder dry till I get on Coach's platform, where I'll be able to just say what I think. Look, that cold, careless message to the fans from Mason primarily sums this all up. You know, everybody's looking at who's to blame, this is to blame, that's to blame, trying to get the moral high ground. There's no moral high ground to be had here. Mason, for me now, has the nail he's buried in his coffin for me is the cold-hearted nature this has happened. It's not about anything other than he wants the bag. And let me confirm, let me just put something clear, Roger. It's not that Man United or anybody has bigger pockets than Chelsea. It's that they have a revenue setup that has increased their FFP margins in order for them to pay more wages.
Well, yes,
and so
I
at
agree.
the moment, Man United is paying high wages. Arsenal, who have pre-calculated this, is paying high wages. They've actually always paid high wages. That's been
They've always done that, yeah.
With Aubameyang and people like what's that German guy, and
they sell more shirts. They have a lot,
and even
greater
not necessarily. They're more prudent in their transfer dealings, and thereby they save more money to spend more money. That's
Arsenal or Man United. Oh, Arsenal. Sorry. Okay.
Man United is the one that has the greater marketing valuation.
Yeah, revenue stream.
Even
Of course.
Liverpool as well. They pay high wages, but they do it the Arsenal way of saving money to spend more money. But that's beside the point. I'm trying to target Mason, or rather speak of Mason. Mason, let's not pretend. He went for the bigger wages. He doesn't particularly care about Chelsea because he knows going to a rival, as he said in his message, I've played against them, I know how strong they are, they can get even stronger. He knows it's going to hurt Chelsea. And all these ha people, oh, he's now going to come back and hurt you. I don't give a stuff about Nathan anymore. I don't particularly wish him well at Man United. I'm not getting into all that, cordial side of things. You're with the enemy, you are the enemy. I don't wish you well there. I don't wish you bad in your life, but I do not wish you well at Man United, period. I don't care about you. You are not a Chelsea player anymore. Bye. We move on and look to bigger, better things. It is disappointed that he's gone, but he chose to go for the money. Is he wrong? No, absolutely not. It's a business to him. Is Chelsea wrong for not paying him that money? No, absolutely not. We have the financial consideration of the club. We had offered this guy a system and a process of incremental payment. So before he starts to try and pull the violins, oh, I was underpaid. No, you weren't, Mr. Mount. You were offered a system to increment your payment as time went on. You refused to sign it because you wanted to jump straight to the big bag. People like Mo Salah at Liverpool, they went through an incremental system before they got to the 3K a week that they're on now. So let's not pull that one. Let's not try and pull wool over people's eyes, play any kind of victim. Own the decision you've made and own the consequences that come with it. Period. If we're doing cold hard business, this is how it is. Chelsea's prepared for you to play with a rival club. Fine, but don't come and pretend that you wanted that. Oh, you're all sad and that you just couldn't help but leave. No, you wanted money. You spent 18 years at Chelsea. Fine. We gave a lot to you, mate. We made you, we developed you. So just have that respect for the club, which I believe you are. You're not going over the top, which is fine, but don't come with any of the pretenses. We're going to get over you, you get over us, and we all move on. I'm sick of Mason Mount. Don't really want to talk about him anymore. Yes, it hurts. There's a part of me that feels hurt because he is a Chelsea boy, but he has helped smooth that with the cold-hearted way he and his father did the move. And it's all good. It's all good. He looked out for number one. That's fine. My priority is Chelsea Football Club. No player is bigger than the club. Mason Mount is never bigger than Chelsea Football Club. And the sooner he flops where he is, the better for me as a Chelsea fan.
Well, Bobby, if you went overseas, let's say you went to a Milan team or wherever, Bayern Munich, whoever, if he didn't go to a Premier League team, how would you feel about his departure?
I wouldn't feel so bad because they're not an immediate rival. But he didn't want to go there. Why? Because the bag those teams can offer him is not
I know that. No, I agree. Listen, I support two teams, Bobby. I support Chelsea and whoever's playing Man United. It's that simple. It's that simple. Since I was a kid, it's it hurts. It reminds me of Juan Mata. Juan Mata going to United hurt for me also.
Yeah, that did, because he went there and primarily sat a lot on the bench after complaining about sitting on the bench at Chelsea, which are moves that I find stupid, but which also tells you why did he go? Because of the increased wages. Let's not pretend. So, that's what
I have nothing against him going where he gets paid more. We'll all do it in our, respective, or you could say, vocations.
What I am against is when they do that and try and insinuate, oh, the club did this, did that. No.
Yeah, and manufacture narratives that would make it seem as if it was the club's fault.
Exactly.
That's not okay. The same thing Rudiger did.
It's being disingenuous, coach.
Yeah, it's not okay. Yeah.
Just like that post. Especially if it is a player that the club has produced, because that means the club has put a lot into you. Getting a player through our academy, through
educating them,
team, it's a huge investment and a huge amount of time and input from the club. If you want to go for the money, don't try and blame the club, who has a responsibility to the club's checks and balances and legality within the trade with which the club plays.
Fiduciary responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, if it's like me coming, it's like you raise a child. I don't know if this is the right example, and you do everything you can within your financial capability for a child, and then you buy your child a really nice car, and the child turns around and says, "Oh, Dad, no, I don't like this car you bought for me. I want a Lamborghini." When they grow up. And you look at him, you say, "Son, I can't afford a Lamborghini, but this is a wonderful car. This is all I can give you. But if you want to go out there and give us the big one and be the Flash, whatever, then, go to who's going to buy you the Lamborghini. But this has always been your home. We've got no bad feelings." I know this is a wishy-washy example, but this is the whole thing.
It's a very good wishy-washy example.
But Bobby, I would have gone with an Aston Martin personally.
Well, whatever. But Chelsea offered their product, this guy, the best they could within their limitations. It wasn't good enough for him. Own it. Fine. You move on. We move on. We're building up our new project with younger players. And please, God, let it work and let us go back to the pinnacle of football where we belong. Mason Mount right now is nothing to me.
Yeah.
All right, let me catch up with what we have in the chat before it gets too long. I'll come back to the panel again. This is nothing new here. Just a breaking news saying Chelsea are the only club in negotiations with Brighton for Moises Caicedo, despite a strong interest from other clubs. But thank you for that. One request for Roger. I think I'll bring this up. I'll highlight it. We cannot address it right now. Name a consistent and injury-free player at Chelsea in the last 5 years. So people love to argue blindly. Know where that is going. And let's see, what else do we have here? Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Me too. Mount situation irritates me. At one point, I think it got to an extent where you could say the best thing that I wanted to happen, what I wanted to happen happened. It has gone again. Both parties have gone their separate ways. Had they stayed, I think it would have been dangerous. Because that would further divide the fan base, and we want to go into next season. You can say as a unit, as fans, we fans, we want to go into the coming season as a unit. Already we had so much problems last season that it wouldn't make sense Mount staying anymore. It's become so toxic. I think the best thing to happen, the best thing. What I wanted to happen happened. They've gone their separate ways, and that's okay by me. When we pulled the already verbally agreed long-term deal and offered him a year contract, we disrespected the player. Like I said, I'm being honest. If I were Mount, I'd feel disrespected too. And what you do beyond that as an individual, I don't care. But the truth remains that there's nobody that will tell me that they will not feel disrespected. Even if you say, okay, you know what, I'll take the 1 year extension and prove to you that you should give me more, you still feel disrespected. Beyond that, what you do, I don't know. But for me, I'd look to move on as an individual. Mount is not world class, but he's a top player. A solid argument right there. The Banner Boys should follow him to United. Let's see. I'm looking forward to see what a lot of people would do. What Johnny does the day we get to play Manchester United. Being a diehard Blue, I cannot believe this has happened. Well, it's happening. And if you weren't there when I said this, you won the last giveaway, the student staying in school giveaway for the one for last month. Please reach out so I can find a way to get that cash prize to you as soon as possible. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I just want to make this point because, you know, I am very fond of Johnny Minerals, and I kind of stopped listening to him when all this stuff became, in my opinion, a bit too much about the owners, about Mount. I thought, okay, let me just chill a bit. But you see, this is why Chelsea fans cannot allow themselves to be too invested in particular players. Because when they go and join the opposition and turn around and look to hurt the club, where does that leave you? You see what I'm saying? You can moan and gripe, oh, the club didn't do this, oh, they should have given him what they wanted. And the club has to look out in the club's best interest. Chelsea is number one. This is what I keep saying, number one.
Players come, players go, managers come, managers go.
Exactly. We do what we can in the interest of the club. So all this overt support for players, now he goes and he's trying to hurt you, you look pretty silly. So it's not worth it. Get off the player one bandwagon. He's gone, wave him goodbye, and we look forward. That's what I hope that some of these sort of people that were so strongly in that camp are going to do. I really do, because look at it now. It's a bit messy, isn't it?
It's divisive.
I hope they're able to find closure and move on. Because I'm not sure what I'm not too concerned about them really. How much would Chelsea pay for Caicedo? I do not know. Entire says Mace is wearing number 7. Good luck to him. Let's see. Liverpool has never paid a large salary for players except for Mo Salah. We move along. We move on. I think that's what I'd say. Why are we still on this board? Change the topic, bro. What about all the news? We'll get to that in a bit. I think Bobby have spoken. The moment I catch up with what we have in the chat, I think we're moving on. That was what I promised you guys, and that's what we do. If that makes sense. Roger, I don't wish him well either because I feel betrayed. Well, I don't feel betrayed, but that's just me. Eddie Colwell news heard Liverpool are monitoring him. That's all I've heard. Not anything beyond that. He's going to come back once he's done. I think he's still on an international assignment for England. I agree with Bobby. Let's see what else we have here. Mount is right, though. He chose money, and nobody has any. To me, I have nothing against him for that. Honestly, he has every right. If you're looking for a new job, you'd always go for the highest you can paying organization.
Coach, it's not just that. Listen, especially people that work in white collar, you usually work till you're 65, give or take. Whereupon your office is really your office. But there, in a sport like football, for instance, or the NFL, whatever the sport is actually, you're one play away from ending your career on an injury, God forbid. So it behooves you to try to get the most out of, because longevity is not assured. It's at least that even if you do have a very long career, if you're lucky, you play till you're 40. This isn't golf or tiddlywinks. So it means that it's even more imperative for you to get the best deal than your average Joe that works as a non-athlete, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for that. No wonder where I learned, if that makes sense. It was from you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If we offered the same money and contract length, we would have matched whatever United offered. This was entirely Mount and his dad's decision. This move started when United secured Champions League. Then Tony was being courted. I think that's the truth. If we're to believe the report we read on the screen, well said. Everybody here supporting Bobby. Indeed, no player is bigger than Chelsea FC. We move. It's as simple as that. I'm going to try to get to scroll to the very bottom, so we'll move on to the next topic. And Moses, is Mount at the same level as Hazard? I'm just saying no. And your message got deleted because the manner at which you were sending them, you were actually spamming the chat. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Please type your message, bulk it up, and you say as a paragraph and send it. Then it'll be easier. I'm not sure what to make of that, your comment. I think you know the answer quite well. You just on it. Has Ruben Loftus-Cheek gone to AC Milan? Yeah, 2 days ago or so. I like the way Reese's dad put it on the Beautiful Game podcast. What did he say? Let me know. I want to hear. Do you have a podcast and we do not know? People like Bobby cannot see the bigger picture. The owner's strategy will make it almost impossible for Chelsea to sign a world-class player. Building from the ground up is not an easy process. At least they're building. Here's the thing. I get it. I've always said my concern has always been the club's immediate future, but the club's long-term future, believe me, it's looking good. Will be good.
Does this person believe that building and creating success can be done in an easy process? Come on, guys. Get a hold of yourself. These people are trying. There is nothing that is guaranteed in life. Who dares wins. They've tried the process and it didn't quite work out because it was overtly hurried. Now they've put their structure in place and they're trying another process, building from youth upwards. It's like they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they do nothing, like Coach has just alluded to, all these critics will be on their case. If they do something like the old Roman days, all these critics will be saying, oh, you're trying to buy success. Oh, it's short term. You're buying all these ready-made players. Now they're building up. What we need to do as fans is support these people. All these attacks on these people over things that are left to be seen is ridiculous. And this is where people start to earn the name tag plastics, plastic fans, constantly complaining, never really supporting, being critics of Chelsea and followers of Chelsea, but not supporters of Chelsea. I think we need to get off that bandwagon. There's a lot that is left to be seen. They're building something. Let's support them in the build. Sorry, Roger, I don't know if I interrupted you. Or was it?
You did, and he's probably not happy right now.
You're dead to me, Bobby. Dead to me.
Mason is carried. Chicas in one Nidalo. I appreciate you joining the show. Thank you to all of you that are watching. If you haven't, please do take a second to drop a like on the stream. And for those of you that are watching and not able to participate in the chat for one reason or the other, we appreciate you. You provide great value. But if you can take just a second to drop a like, nobody will know when you do that. Please, would really appreciate that. We're 68 likes. Let's get it up to 100 as soon as possible. I know we don't have too much time today because we started an hour, 30 minutes late. But at least I will go along with Mason. Yeah, whatever you say there, it's your opinion, chicos, here, and not mine. But sometimes I do. Proper Charles, I prefer money over balance. Here's the thing, it's business for all parties involved. I have nothing against him going for the bag. But yeah, we're all frustrated for, you can say, we see things from different lenses. Mount is still our agent. That may well be the case. Let's see. A good decision, Bobby. Respect the owners. It's as simple as possible. As that, they've done well. They've made mistakes, but what I'm saying, they're learning from their mistakes. They're setting up contracts in a way it will be hard to lose a player on a free, or and all of that. And also, let me just leave it at the future is bright. But let's move on from that. Mount United number 7 reminds me of Sancho. Sancho trumpets. Mind you, just know how to sell their next flops. Okay, let's see. This is Chelsea going for Cherki. Not sure, or just rumors at this point, and nothing official. Rumors are that we're going to push the signing. Let's see if there will be waves of boos or for Vaz and Mount when a season starts. I think it will happen. That's just my opinion, but I think it will happen. This is new era. The fans always are crying about the new owner's decision and structure. Yeah, they should let it go. Don't waste your valuable time speaking about these scammers. Now they went to where they can scam 300,000 per week. They were demanding big wages for making the club get relegated. Okay, maybe I don't understand that quite well. Joyce is saying, I just wish Mount didn't have to go. A lot of people wish that. Ian Matson is a baller keeper. He's back. He's training with. I saw pictures of him training with all the lads yesterday. Kuchila, I was a big supporter of Mason Mount. Sorry to hear that. If you need tissue, I can provide you a few. Coach, I will send you my PayPal account. Okay, PayPal is good. You get it as soon as today. Coach, now you may ask Roger his reason. I'll get to that in a bit. He needs to make an apology video because of his haircut in the goodbye video. I'm not going to do that. Mount is our agent. I've said that before. Okay, I'll take it out. So it's not yours. Okay. This is exactly why fans should support the football club, not individual players. And yeah, Bobby, I couldn't have said it any better than Bobby did. Newcastle have signed Tonelli from AC Milan for 55 million. What a bargain. Come on, guys, make it 100 likes, 73 likes, 27 more to get it to 100. We can make that happen. And Rido, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join. Thank you so much. That will go a long way. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm going to get the comments of some of you that I haven't read what you have, and then I'm going to move on. There's so much to catch up with. Please like and subscribe, guys. Let's go. Gabriel Omo-Obas. I'm screaming now like I'm okay, but the next minute I'll be struggling to speak because my throat still hurts. Yeah, let's see. What else do we have here? This is exactly what I was saying to Kuchila the other day. Bobby Bolly is moving too fast. Last season was enough punishment for us. Okay. Hello, coaching panel. How are you all? See that CFC are busy with housekeeping and laundry work. I still got at least 10 players to get rid of, not counting the numerous loans on top. Mount. Yeah, I think that number is large. Mount mentor Lambs went to 2 cities now. His son has gone to Manchester United. Mount is an average player, and he never respected Chelsea. Here's the thing, please. I did say this when the show started, and let's try not to. This is not whether Mount is good or not. We're just analyzing the situation. But yeah, it'd be difficult for such thing not to happen. Mason Mount recorded his goodbye message way before his move to Manchester United. His hair color was blonde, but when he was at Manchester United yesterday, completing his medical, his hair color was brown. Let's talk about that, Roger. I get it. I know you probably must have just quickly. Let me do this before we come back to this because I like this comment. Somebody did a you could say chose to become an FBI agent or MI6 or what you call them, to take their time to figure out the video was recorded nearly
a few weeks
long
ago.
time ago.
Yeah.
Not fresh. So which means he'd already made up his mind to leave a long time ago, and he made the mistake of you could say he's already died. His hair he's already washed off the dye. The dye is gone. He doesn't have it now. So people took their time to compare the two and say, wow, this guy had already made up his mind to leave a long time ago. But Roger, you can go ahead. What do you make of that?
Listen, I don't think it's much to do about nothing, as Shakespeare would say. It's irrelevant. He's made up his mind and he recorded this a few weeks ago. Does that mean he's broke the law? No, it's just it's a simple fact. Okay,
well, because of the situation, people will look at that.
To me, it's much to do about nothing. It's irrelevant. It's not a crime to have made up your mind weeks ago. It's that simple. So, but yeah, it's not spontaneous, and if it does give an impression of where it is immediate and it's shall we say, well, it could come across as being disingenuous, can't it? So I get it, but to me, it doesn't really mean much. It really doesn't.
And so, I think I have to agree with you. There's a chance he recorded the video when we could say when it was clear that he was going to leave. So I don't know. Even what I just said doesn't even make sense to me. So Manchester United started, you could say, made their initial bid about a month ago, right? About a month ago or so. So maybe he felt like, and we've always heard from his camp something to the effect of him not wanting to sign a new contract and will most definitely join Manchester United. And we've also heard reports from Fabrizio Romano saying he's guaranteed Manchester United that he's going to join them, that he will not sign a new contract. So I don't know. So I agree with you. We shouldn't actually. It's much ado about nothing, like you said. I don't think we should take it. Just it's nothing. Let's just move on from that particular comment right there. But thank you for that. RFC AC Milan announcement video trying to change the topic. Yeah, I haven't seen it actually, but I'd like to see it. People have said so much about it. It looks like it's really cool. At first, the owners were ready to splash the cash and increase their player wages, but the drop of form and lack of enthusiasm of some so-called senior players changed their minds. Disheartening to see so many academy players negotiating playing time for contract. Sad to see these and CFC have to put a correct mentality of competing in academy players. Those kids need to be brave. I think I couldn't agree more with that. Good afternoon to you too. Has Caicedo been signed? No. What's his name? I think Undertaker FC said in the chat that I think he said it's done. That was what he said. 75 million plus 10 million others. Yeah, let's see what happens. Mason Mount made his choice to leave and turned down more than one contract. So let's just focus on the team. And Ken, thank you for saying that. And Ken, you're my friend. Yeah, one of my followers on Instagram. And Ken, thank you so much for finding the time to join us on the show today. I appreciate that, brother. Let's see what else we have here. What else do we have? Coach, did we really need the hair color to decipher this? Yeah, that's why I think Roger said it all. And when Roger was speaking, it just occurred to me, it just doesn't make sense to waste our time analyzing because that's a situation. Yeah, because this whole saga started months ago. And it's only natural that he's, again, you could argue that he's made up his mind to leave the club months ago, and it's nothing new. 4 or 5 months ago, and it was clear that he was more likely to go. No big deal. Yeah, no big deal indeed. So, Roger, thank you for bringing me back to my senses, if that makes sense. He made up his mind about leaving a long time ago, but yet some have the audacity to blame the club unbelievable. We don't have, nobody has any right to blame Mason Mount or even blame the club. It's all business for all parties involved, and they tried, but we're not able to come to an agreement. So they've gone their separate ways. Go ahead, Roger. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Do you think he gets booed when he returns back to the bridge?
I think it will happen.
Yeah, I think so
it will
too.
happen. And you saw the poll we had up there. 67% said good riddance.
Well, yeah, but that's because you have very little time since this transpired, so emotions are more raw, shall we say? But I'm talking about I don't know when the fixture is. I'd have to look at the calendar. But,
Roger, I don't think the length matters.
Okay, sure. No, I hear you.
I don't think the length of time before we play them, I don't think that matters really.
I can see him getting booed. I can see, even if it's not the majority of people, I think he gets booed, in my opinion. I think he's too vitriol. I think he's too much of a... For whatever reason, he's a Marmite player, and I don't understand why. But I think he's going to get booed at the bridge, which is a shame, actually.
Indeed, it's a shame, and again, no denying that. And this one here, FC Porto appreciate Andreas Santos since January. They asked for him twice, but at the moment, there is no agreement with Chelsea. Porto like Andre, and they'd love to have him on loan, but Chelsea have not decided anything. Pochettino will see him in preseason, then decide. I think I've said this. I think before we sign any other midfielder beyond Moises Caicedo, it depends on how the youngsters we have within our ranks, how they do during preseason. And I think I came to that conclusion after reading Mauricio Pochettino's report that said something to the effect of, we're looking to sign more midfielders, but beyond Moises Caicedo, with signed midfielders, all signing new midfielders depends on how preseason goes. So to me, it just simply means, go ahead.
Have we got the luxury of that time? I mean, I get it with eyes being on Andre Santos, although some people are saying he's going to go to Porto on loan. I doubt that. I don't really see the sense in that. But I don't know. I don't know. Because preseason is so important, unless the club, remember, we now have sporting directors, we now have scouts and football advisors. So if they feel that we don't need more than Caicedo, I'm prepared to support them and put my faith in them for now, because they have to be given a chance. As I said earlier, all this attack on the owners and all that, nobody's giving them a chance. They're attacking them before the issue actually arises because of the plan they're trying to follow. So if they say, which is wrong really, but if they say that, okay, we have enough belief that Santos will be enough, then albeit. But if we have to get in a midfielder suddenly towards the end of the transfer, do we need one,
Bobby?
Well, this is what we're saying, isn't it? We need to see these youngsters and see how they fit into
everything
plan.
Points to that. Go ahead, Bobby.
But if we find that there's a bit of a deficiency and we need to act to bring in somebody else alongside Caicedo, then that really has to be quite an established player to avoid it being a problem. So I don't know. This is what I keep saying. Everything about what's going on now, time will tell. They're putting the pieces together. We don't even know how the players are going to play together. We don't even know how they're going to play. We just have to wait and see a lot of these things, don't we?
Can I just say something, if I may, gentlemen? It's
go ahead.
Going to Poch's interview. One thing that stuck out was the fact that he emphasized he wants leadership across all phases of the pitch in every area. And I know, like, you look at
by saying, I think he said something to the effect of wanting leaders, not followers.
Right. We still have leaders. It's just that they're young.
Exactly.
Santos,
so you look at Caicedo. Exactly. Caicedo, Santos.
Caicedo, James.
These are captains Enzo, in their own right. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all leaders. Even Nkunku, they've all captained their various countries or
Respective teams, yeah.
at different levels. Levi Colwill, of course, Thiago Silva. So we're full of leaders in the team. It's just because they're young, we're comparing them to the likes of people like Drogba, Lampard, and Terry at
JT,
their peak.
yeah.
But no, they don't need to be at their peak to be leaders of quality. And this is the fascinating thing about this new Chelsea, because I got to say, guys, with these young, energetic players, if the plan works, wow, sit back and enjoy the ride. We've got a formidable team on our hands.
Young, formidable team.
Yeah.
Mhm. So let's see. No one here, no more hearing about MM7 and his father. All right, that's by the way, this particular topic on the screen here. I saw something from Record Portugal suggesting that Porto want him. This is Porto wants him, and I'm not sure Chelsea would do that. They want him on loan with an option to buy. I'm not sure Chelsea would do that. Here's the thing.
God.
This is a player, even last season when we signed him, we were actually pushing for him to join the first team. We pushed for him to get work permit and all that, and that didn't work. So I'm not too sure how Chelsea will sell him and then loan him out and then loan him out with an option for the loaning club to buy him. No, I don't think it's absolute horse doo-doo in my opinion. Caicedo is not done, but agreement has been reached between both clubs. Okay, and last week we heard that we've agreed personal terms with him. So all that was left as at the time was to reach an agreement with Brighton, and talks have, you could say, have progressed quite well according to some reports out there. We're not talking about Mount anymore, please. And I don't want to be switching. You could say going back and forth topics. It can be exhausting, but I'm just going to humor you guys there. Mount leaving is not same setback as Hazard already leaving. We did well without Hazard, and we will do good next season. For me, Mount would start over Enzo, Caicedo, and Nkunku. Good luck to him. I think that's a solid argument, actually. And some people are arguing, actually, he's looked at the signings we've made and probably feels like his place is under threat. But that's just my opinion. Big up, coach. Big up to you too. Just 1 second, Bobby. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was just saying that the fact that Andre Santos is now deep in training at Cobham with the rest of the lads, although people like Caicedo and that are there and they may go out on a loan. But I think Santos is different. He's already getting rave reviews from his teammates. And I do believe, it also makes ample sense that Pochettino want to run the rule over him and see if he can use him. And I hope he's able to do that.
We have Mihailo Mudryk, but Mudryk plays in a different position. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I really
go ahead, you were saying something.
I really like Brazilian and these sort of South American players, especially in midfield, because they have good technical ability and qualities and flair, and they're also able to deal with the physicality. It's rare. I remember Ramirez.
Santos is a big kid. He's still he's big.
For his age.
Mm-hmm. Remember Ramirez back in the day. There was nothing.
I love him,
but he would deal with the physicality of that DM position when he had to, and he was technically able to create play, even score goals. So they have that flair, and they usually work. Look at them at Man City, look at them at Liverpool. They kind of really do the job well. So I'm hopeful of Andres Santos. I really am. I think
Ramirez was a special player in the sense that usually when you see a player as quick as him, they're usually not technically gifted, but he had both. He was also a very intelligent player. But Roger, you go ahead. Andreas Santos.
Oscar to play that DM role sometimes. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to keep this kid. I think he's going to be part of the squad, and I don't see the club considering any offer with an option to buy, which was what Juventus tried with the case of Caicedo, and we refused. We're not even listening to them. And Caicedo is also training with the team right now. I think Pochettino will look at them both and decide. And some are suggesting actually that both will stay. But let's see what happens. Go ahead, Roger. Your thoughts?
Yeah, listen. If I don't know how credible this is from Fabrizio, but honestly, if we do sell him hypothetically, that's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense at all. Why would we go to all this trouble? It's way too early. He's in the very early stages of being a Chelsea player. You know, he's just attained his visa, for goodness sake. You need to see enough sampling size to determine whether he's of Chelsea standard, and the general consensus he is. It's I'd be very disappointed even if he goes out on loan, let alone being sold. I really would. You know,
I think here's the thing. Be rest assured that either of again one of him or him and what's his name, Caicedo stays, and there's a chance both will stay.
I would hope so. I would hope both of them stay, and the same goes for both of them. By the way, maybe I'm being naive here, but you know, with Caicedo arriving, hopefully, I'm not sure whether we need another midfielder, considering we're not in Europe. You know, I say let's. Yes, I do realize the importance of us having to be in Europe the following season, meaning at the very worst, you know, Europa League. We need that. I get that, but is it a gamble? Perhaps, but is it being naive? Perhaps, but I would like to see them play for us. And if they don't cut it, then we loan them out in January and we acquire someone at the January window. It's that simple. I would like. They need to be given a chance, and historically, that hasn't been Chelsea's forte, giving players enough opportunities, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Thank you so much, Coach. If I write MM, please don't switch past the comment, because I need Mihailo Mudryk. I think, yeah, he should be the new MM. Well deserved. But thank you for that. Appreciate you. Mount hasn't had blonde hair in over a month. That message was exactly what it looked like. Cynical, scripted, insincere. Insincere, maybe I'll agree to a certain extent, but I don't care when it was recorded, really. But nice again. How do I call it? Say your name here. Is it okay? Create Q. What a creative name. Yes, Coach. From now on, MM means Mihailo Mudryk, and thank you for to Jesse for suggesting that. The Santos article does not surprise me. Porto are pushing for a loan move. But the concerning one was the one from Record Portugal saying they want him alone with an option to buy. I don't think Chelsea would do that. I think once they say that, Chelsea would just ask them not listen to them anymore. However, my understanding is Poch very much wants him part of the first team. And I'm not shocked at that, because Poch likes to play with young players. And he's good enough. But go ahead, Roger, you were saying something.
Yeah, I just want to say hello, DJ. Always a pleasure, old bean.
Yeah, hello, DJ. Play the tune for us. I am actually more excited about Caicedo. He's amazing. These are talents that I don't think Chelsea will, under any circumstance, decide to loan any of them to any club with an option to buy. No, at least not at this point.
I hope
they've
not.
all done. Yeah, the both of them did well in the under-21 FIFA World Cup, actually. And Caicedo emerged as MVP, I think so. With the top, he was the top scorer too from the midfield. So that's how talented they are.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, quite a lot. I don't think the club will let them go. Sanchez, go ahead.
Has anyone, I don't know whether you've covered it in the last day or so, but has anyone been watching, for instance, England in the under-21 UEFA, like Madueke and Colwell? Have you been watching them?
Yeah, both of them have been excellent. I've seen highlights of their games. I've watched about 10 minutes, yeah.
Madueke gets to the byline, crosses it with his right foot constantly. If you have a look, he's so able to cross with his right foot, which is refreshing. He's not so reliable.
Would I be wrong to say he's actually been carrying that England team from what I've seen?
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, and Colwell, listen, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe England's conceded a goal as of yet. I'll probably jinx them now as we play Israel today. But listen, Colwell looks so assured back there in defense. It's impressive, these young players. When you look at them playing against their peers. So it's noticeable how good they are. Let's put it this way. Against the Portugal team that I look at as a very superior team because they're so technically gifted, each and every player. So Madueke's impressed me a lot, coach.
I'm saying, honestly, I saw a few of the games of highlights. One of them I saw about 20 minutes of it. He's carrying the team, really. Let's say carrying the team's attack, maybe. Santos and Caicedo should stay and come off the bench. I wouldn't want a situation where they stay and be coming off the bench. I think that would be problematic. I think if that would be the case, the club will end up sending them both out on loan. And Mauricio Pochettino did say, even before he started work officially, say something to the effect of the kids need to play. The kids need to play. They don't need to be on the bench.
Coach,
it will not be good for their development. Go ahead.
Coach, I don't know whether you watched ESPN a couple of days ago. It was Julian Laurent with I forgot the other chap's name, the Italian chap. Did you hear what Julian Laurent talked about Levi Colwill and Badiashile? You know, obviously he's French, and and he calls him my man, because he's French. But he says he prefers Levi Colwill over Badiashile. He believes at this moment in time he's a better player. Yeah, I was shocked when he said that because he's obviously and a lot of the time it's tongue in cheek because I love Junior Laurent's humor. But
I'm just going to stop at both are good players.
Yeah, of course. I think they're. To be honest with you, I not that I'm an expert, but I can't really see much daylight between either player. I think they're equally as good as each other for the most part. But apparently, Julian Laurent was being serious, and he said, "No." He goes, "At this stage, I think Colwell's better." I was like, "Wow!" And for him to say that, because he's so anti-Chelsea and so anti-English. A lot of it's tongue in cheek, though. But he's so pro-French, and rightfully so, because they produce some amazing players. And I thought that spoke volumes to me.
Quite a lot. I know both are good players. The amazing, the maximizing of profit via wage reduction and signing low-profile players will not win us trophies. The owners are not in the business of winning trophies. Stop being naive.
No,
I think you're the one. You're the one that's being naive here. That's just my opinion, and that's just your opinion. And respectfully, we all see things from different lenses.
But coach,
I think I'm able to take my time and look at what they're doing. I'm able to come to the conclusion they have a good plan, and it will work. Honestly, it will work. And they did not become billionaires by being stupid or being dumb. And even if they want to sell the club, I think they know if the club again, if Chelsea aren't winning anything, you can say next 3, 5, 6 years and up. They're not going to be able to get a sizable fee from the sale of the club, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but
beyond it being a historic club and all that. Go ahead, Roger, if you want to. You have something to say.
Yeah, from January of this year onwards, in other words, since they've purchased the team, with the exception of the first transfer window, it's the January window and this window going forward. The owners have nothing to do with acquisitions. It's the co-sporting directors of Stewart and Winstanley. These are the two gentlemen, along with the scouts, of course, and the backroom staff. These are the people that are in charge of all the acquisitions and I'm assuming departures also. The owners are taking a back seat, like Bowley and Ed Barley, etc. So these chaps are no longer have their toes in the water. It's Stewart and Winstanley. We need to understand and appreciate that there's a structure in place, something that I think all of us have been wanting for many a year. And now that infrastructure is in place. So you can't.
Beyond that, actually, overall for the club, there's a plan in place.
Yes, and it's not. You can't say the owner. It has nothing to do with the owners anymore. It has to do with the co-sporting directors and the scouts. Period. We need to differentiate that from now on.
And I'm just going to move beyond that and say, I think the problem is that a lot of people have failed to understand the vision of the owners, have failed to take their time and look at what they're doing and see, it may take a season or two. And believe me, I think, look, if that's the case, then why are we going for Caicedo? And why did we try to sign Urate? And why are we trying to sign Vlahovic? Let me just go back to that particular comment before I come down here. Here's the thing, Vic. You have every right to see things the way you're saying it, because we all see things from different lenses, but I urge you to take your time to really analyze what they've done, what they're doing, and let me know if you come to the conclusions they're not into winning business. They're not into, how did you phrase it again? But honestly, you need to take your time to look at what they're doing, to really understand that they're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. But unfortunately, I can't force you to change your mindset with regards to how you feel about the owners. It's up to you. It's your opinion. We should learn that not all players are to be loaned. We had better learn from Barca and Madrid. Those clubs don't loan out their top prospects. Stay, develop, and emerge as a superstar. And yeah, I think that's the plan here. I think some of them will stay as long as the manager likes them. But I know we'll mix it up. And Bobby, DJ saying big up to you. And Adebayo Makunju, big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining the show. Got to stop loaning players, and they are good enough to play. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it that way. I don't see a situation where we loan both out. I think either will stay, or actually there's a chance both of them stay. Coach, looking at training pictures, this kid Santos is big and strong. Bobby will be happy to see the keyword physicality. Yeah, Bobby loves him. You already heard him speak about Santos here. They play again today. Modric in Ukraine play today. I think I'd like to watch that one. I am really excited for this young team. We have exactly the right gift for development of talent. Exactly. And you could argue the main reason why we hired Pochettino is his track record with young talent. And believe me, I get it. There's a chance we don't get to win anything next season. But by the time we play 2-3 games, you'd see, we have a vision, and it will happen. Let's see what else we have here. Anything else here? Gab Macarotti, Roger, was that the name you're looking for? Macotti. Yeah. Macotti, not Macarotti.
Gabriel Marcotti, yeah.
Macotti, yeah. Okay. If we send Kepa to the subs bench and bring in Diogo Costa, I will be really happy. I think we're going to sign a goalkeeper. Who that goalkeeper will be, I honestly do not know at this point. Coach, some of the kids are running away would have stayed if CFC installed the car seats. Just go away, please. I'm going to move on from that one. What lens? We all see this from different lenses. If that, I know you understand exactly what I mean. Coach, Dortmund, Leipzig, and Arsenal, we can win a trophy or two, but that's it. Not winning team without the marquee top signings. We are running a business structure, not a football. Here's the thing. I'm still gonna come back to you and say that's your opinion. Yes, it's a business structure, but that doesn't mean, from what I'm seeing, to me, I've taken my time to look at it. That doesn't mean we're not building a winning team. We're building a winning machine here. And the plan is to keep these young talents together for a long time. And in football, if you're able to keep talents together for a long time, they become, you can say, an unbeatable team, if that makes sense. And that's how I see it. But I get it. I respect your opinion, and please kindly respect mine too. But it's an argument that I like because it pushes us to think intellectually, or maybe, I think that's the correct term. It makes sense. We didn't lose quality by selling these players. If you look at the statistics of midfielders who recently left Chelsea, they have fewer goals and assists than Ross Barkley. Ross the Don Barkley. That's a serious one. Julian Lauren is it's like all of us. He has his opinion regarding players, and so it's everyone. So him saying Colwell is better than Badiashile doesn't change anything. No. He isn't the manager. And Roger, we all agree. Roger was saying that he was shocked to hear that. I think, I don't want to misquote you, but something to that effect.
No, he's not.
But my point is, yeah, he doesn't have the final say. And those are two young players, and they're both in the same age bracket, and there's still time to find out whether they're actually like for like. I think they differ from what I've seen so far. They differ, but they are, you can say, they're both you can say, cool-headed whenever on the ball. They're not too much in a hurry to decide what to do and all that. I had to drop to get some treatment. I will rejoin if I finish on time. Okay, thank you for saying that, brother. Havertz, 19 goals in 96 appearances. Good luck. Yeah, that doesn't help his case either. As much as I have a strong argument as to why we should have kept him. Why is Santos going out on loan? It hasn't happened. That report you're looking at on the screen is from the perspective of Porto. What Porto wants. It's not what Chelsea wants to do. Chelsea as a club wants to do, if that makes sense.
I'll be shocked if it happens, Coach. I'll be very shocked.
I'll be shocked too. And I have to be honest with you. An update here. Chelsea, okay, that's just about a preseason. That doesn't mean we want to send him out on loan. Who was Man City's Marcus signing last season? We just need a great investment, a great scouting, a good Gefa, and the right environment. And yeah, the rest, everything else will fall into place. Hello, Coach. Hello to you, to Chigozie. I appreciate you finding the time to join us today. Let's see. Yes, definitely, bro. Let's see what else do we have. Good day, everyone. I believe that Portugal will build a very strong team. We should be patient. Unfortunately, not everybody will be patient. Just like my friend there, Vic, who's in the chat, he thinks we're in trouble. But let's see what else we have lined up here and see how soon we can round up. Trevor Chalobah is open to leaving Chelsea this summer. Newcastle United at the latest club to register an interest in him and are considering making a move. CFC, and that's being reported. The report is quoting Bobby Vincent. I think he'd be. I think probably everything comes down to his conversation with the new manager. He's always wanted to stay, but you can argue how, for lack of a better term, I'd say Potter did him dirty. I have to be honest. And if I were what's his name, Trevor Chalobah, I'd be looking to leave too. Except if I get some measure of guarantee from Pochettino, then I'd stay. But he's confident in his ability, but managers haven't really treated him well. But Roger, your thoughts, if you have anything to say with regards to that, or do you think we should move on? Up to you.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that extent, doing him dirty to that extent in that verbiage. I will say
maybe that's too strong for you to say. Yeah,
it's a bit strong.
But I'll give you a very good example. Before the World Cup, he was one of our best defenders. Then after the World Cup, how he didn't start games, I just could not understand why.
I assume that's based on the premise of what he's doing in training, or it's because Fofana came back. Listen, we paid a lot of money for Fofana, and 80+ million. And if, with the exception of Fofana, A, either getting injured again, or B, him flopping considerably, then I can't see Chalobah getting a starting role. I really can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the amount of investment we put into Fofana, it doesn't make sense. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that if Chalobah is better than him, why he shouldn't start. I get it. But based on his potential I just don't see Chalobah, unless injuries. And then that's a considerable possibility when you consider his poor track record the last 2-3 years. But... listen, it's a very young squad back there, the back line. We've got depth, but you never know. We have not been blessed with health lately. So I hope that he doesn't leave, because if we do lose him, then this doesn't bode well, because, he knows the club, he knows... We don't have to acclimate someone new, and he's got potential. His ceiling is high, I believe.
And he's still very young, and he's a good defender.
He's very
also
young.
I think you can say he's not the most flamboyant defender, but he's good. I think I've seen other reports suggesting that Chelsea will not look to sell him, but if he asks to leave,
does he
then
want to,
they will. There's no way to tell. Let's just see. It's silly season, but you hear lots of nonsense out there. Breaking news: AC Milan make 18.9 million package bid for Pulisic. Why are we? And Lyon was offering it. Was it 24? But that of Lyon was it
25.
in euros or pounds? But the question is where the player wants to go.
It was 25 million euros, if I'm not mistaken.
So nearly the same thing.
Yeah, listen. We bought him for what, 52? Wow, what a depreciation.
Yeah, plus buying clubs will actually, factor in the fact that he hardly stays fit.
Yeah,
I would do the same too.
Coach.
Yeah, I would do the same too. Coach, Fofana is a lucky boy. If I was to choose a Chalobah, Chalobah finished a season better and looked more secure. Fofana was a bit too shaky for me, but I get it. He's a good defender too, but they're all very young. This is Vlahovic better than João Felix. Really? Are you throwing that to see whether you start a fight? Adebayo, but I'm not. To me, I'll take João Felix over Vlahovic. But they play in different positions, though.
Yeah, they're completely different, Coach.
Yeah, but I think Michael G wants us to start a fight here. Please, my fellow Chelsea fans, it is not high time. We beg our owners that it is not okay. I beg that 2 signings isn't enough, and we are busy selling, not signing. Just calm down. Believe me, would sign players there. Paul Chinedu, Paul Dalo Chinedu, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you. Hello, Coach. Hello to you too. One day, I appreciate you joining. I hope you're doing well. And this says, I think a lot of people may said, I think they want to win, but they want to do it in a way that it will last long. Thank you. That is the plan. They want sustainability. They want sustained dominance. They don't want the successes to come in patches. And I've said this before. I love Roman Abramovich. Believe me, I will not change anything. And if I get a chance for him to come back and become new Chelsea owner, I'd take it. But everything we achieved under him came, you can say, bit by bit.
Coach,
Roger wanted me not to come in patches.
Coach, it's not in patches. I got a spreadsheet that shows that.
As if you were going to come at me.
Because for the last 20 years, it's literally win-win-0, win-win-0.
That's what I'm saying. They're all not chained.
Yeah, but Coach, 2 out of 3 years for 20 years, on and off.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad.
That is pretty bloody consistent, Coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
not bad. But
it wasn't like it wasn't. And listen, it wasn't.
You know what? I'm laughing because I knew you were going to come at me. But go ahead, Roger.
Because that to me isn't defined as patches. Winning 2 out of 3 years for over 20 years consistently, win-win, no, win-win, no, win-win, no, etc. That is not being impact. That's consistency. To win 2 out of 3 years, every 3 years, I think that is being consistent. And by the way, we're the most successful.
But this comment right here, do you agree that this is a delicious comment, really?
It nailed it. Period.
He nailed it, yeah.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah. I no comment. I mean, checkmate.
Yeah, buying the French team to develop our loan army, it's a proof of that. I think I get it. A lot of people will get concerned because they are comparing our model to the Red Bull model. I think we'll probably our plan is to do it and do it differently in a better way. Look at the Red Bull model, find out where they haven't done well, and do something differently in that aspect, if that makes sense. But thank you. A lot of people, that's an excellent comment there. Chelsea open to selling Chalobah to Newcastle. If a bid is made, then 3 defenders, excluding Thiago, isn't enough. I've seen something saying that Pochettino wants 4 center halves. Center backs. Chalobah doesn't have a fancy dance moves like Fofana. Yep, but he's an excellent defender, really. Please, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. The likes to go a long way.
Versatile, Coach. He can play right, and he can play right back if needed.
Yeah. He's proven that. Pulisic was 58 million pounds, and that's some money there. Coachella, Pulisic wants only Milan. Yeah, and that makes it difficult for us to sell to Lyon. Winning is not about signing big names. It's about putting together good players with strong mentality. It's not about big names. I think you're here to take all the delicious comments today. I love that one too. Vlahovic cannot create from nothing. Yeah, exactly. That just highlights the difference between Felix and Vlahovic. Different players. Felix and Vlahovic still got it. We never kept Felix. I knew we were never going to keep him. And Roger, I'm sure you knew that before time. Not because he's not a good player, but because we don't have the luxury to do that right now.
But then again, God forbid, if we lose Nkunku to an injury, who do we have? There's no depth of quality.
But we're still looking at Cherki. We're still looking at one other player, Wits.
I'll be honest with you. I would have listened. I understand there's financial constraints. I concede that, but to me, he stood out as a player that excelled last year. You could tell when he's on the ball. Just his touch is. To me, I would have loved to have kept him more than any other player. I mean, with the exception of Cancer, I'm talking about the players that we've released. So to me, he's a difference maker, and I think he would have excelled under Poch. I really do. He exceeded my expectation when he came to Chelsea. I'll be honest with you. That's my opinion.
He did, but Frank didn't help. A player, he didn't know. He wasn't sure what to do with him.
You just scored on the white line, coach.
Oh my goodness! I don't like Ben Chilwell saying this. It says this report here says Ben Chilwell on Instagram says it's a sad day for all of us at Chelsea. No, it's not. And Mason Mount was a big reason why he joined Chelsea. I don't think he should be saying that because I will look at it. Here's the thing: I will look at it and move on. A lot of people will not. A lot of people will start saying, then you follow him to Manchester United. You get my point, Roger. I think it should be some of these players, they sound as if they don't have good advisors telling them what to say and what not to say.
I would not have advised Chilwell to have said that. That doesn't go down well. And it depending on the context, it doesn't look good in print.
No, it doesn't. He shouldn't be saying it that. Even if you feel that way, just wish him well and shut it. Honestly.
Exactly.
I don't know what's wrong with these guys. They speak like they're 13-year-olds. Sometimes before you say things, you got to consider, okay, how is this going to be perceived? Big great man on the platform. Kachila, I greet you respectfully. Tamidayo, I greet you too. I know Roger greets you too. Coach, how are you feeling about Chelsea losing Andre Onana to Manchester United? Here's the thing, we wanted him, but they were asking too much of us, and he prefers going to Manchester United than coming to us. I think that I don't like that happening because
is it a done deal, coach?
They're making progress. Inter rejected their initial offer, but Man United are preparing an improved offer, and I think they didn't want to sell Onana to us. I don't know if that how I was to phrase it to come across effectively. But Onana wanted to go. He prefers going to United than coming to us. And one thing people aren't talking about that much is the fact that we don't have Champions League football. And that's a lot for players who's been there. Onana, who also made it to the final of the last edition, it will take some convincing. And you paying him something extraordinary for him to decide, you know what, I'm going to Chelsea. So lots of factors to consider. So it's not that simple, really. As much as we don't... Coach. Sorry?
Was never going to happen with no...
Yeah, it was never going to happen, Even Mayon coming out and saying he doesn't want to come to Chelsea, it's simple because we don't have Champions League football. That's how I see some of those people that decided not to come to us. As much as we don't like to say it, it is real that some coaches have bias against players of color, and it's evident throughout football history. So some players' greatness will not be applauded. I like the ending part. I don't think the first part is really necessary given the current topic we're talking about here. Some players will never be applauded or respected as the others, but I want to move on from that, really. I will take top 4, even top 6 next season. This has to be a long-term rebuilding project. Here's the thing, I wouldn't take top 6. I would not take top 6 because I don't want any European assignment that isn't Champions League. It's just an unnecessary distraction. But it's for financial reasons. Yes. I think it makes sense for the club. Go ahead, Roger. You wanted to add something?
Yeah. You have a valid point, but you said that last year, which means this coming season, the 23-24 season, means that we have obviously a much greater chance of succeeding in the Premier League because of the fact we don't have distractions, travel, injuries of playing in Europe this year. So if we don't make it this year into the top 6 or top 4, then what would we have done with it? So I believe we do need European football next year based on financial implications also. So I think this will prove that if we don't make top 4, listen, last time we didn't have European football, we won the league. Okay, that's probably in all likelihood not going to happen this year because of the strength and depth of other teams in the Premier League. It's not like it was 6-7 years ago. But I believe if we don't make top 4 this year, but based on the fact we're not in Europe at all, then this doesn't bode well.
It doesn't. Then it will be even more difficult to get back into there.
Because if we do make top 6 next year, coach, we could win the Europa League and get into Champions League. So we have 2 ways of acquiring Champions League football next year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does in so many ways. And just quickly, Matt, we have just a few items lined up, and I'm sure we've actually gone beyond the topic you would have loved to be part of, which is the Mason Mount debate, argument, or conversation. I think what I would do is add you to the panelist group so that whenever you have time, you can always hop in. But I'll still send you the link if you want to come on and round off with us. But I don't think we have too much time here. But I'll still send it to you anyway. Us losing Onana to Man United is nothing. There are other good goalkeepers too. I wouldn't mind Mamadashvili. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. He's tall, 6 foot plus, I think 6'7" or so. Bali change to consistency. Roman change is consistent. Okay, the difference wouldn't be large if we keep winning. Okay, yeah, true. Red Bull model never signed big player, but I don't think that's the case here. I think we will be signing big players, except if we were lucky. These youngsters that we've signed start firing on all cylinders. Then there'd be no need to be going for those big names. A long-term rebuilding process does not guarantee trophies. That's the truth. Nothing is given. We won trophies under Abramovich because that's the shortcut to winning. He wants it now. Have we want to sign a new striker? I'm not sure what we're going to do for the striker area. It's a Red Bull model on steroids. Maybe I think that's a better way to say it. I think we will learn from what they haven't done well. That we'll look at their model and see areas where they haven't made great progress, and you could say implement a corrective measure and be different in that aspect, in those aspects. Chelsea and Brighton are talking over a move for Caicedo. Chelsea offered 70 million plus 10 million add-ons, but Brighton want more, according to Fabrizio Romano. Talks continue. I think we end up getting that one over the line. Who cares about dominating? Just win. Listen, I am English. I'm an English Chelsea fan who followed all those boys from youth. All but Reece have no. Wow. Really? Okay. I'm not sure what to make of that, but absolutely right, Roger. We need a summer of depth. A CFC and injuries are in an unhealthy love relationship. You can argue that. Last season, had it not been for the size of our squad, we probably will be playing in the championship right now. We use the City Group model, and it's been successful to build a team, not the Red Bull model. So let's call it the City Group model, maybe. Chile's lost his best mate. He's just being honest. But sometimes even at that, you are still employed by Chelsea. So I don't think using the Thomas Saturday at Chelsea, Mason is the reason why you joined Chelsea. Okay, do you want to follow him to United, or are you telling Manchester United to come for you? So it's open to interpretation, and it's just not okay. We desperately need an experienced CB with age ranging from 24 to 27, some with leadership qualities, physicality, strong, physically strong, smart and informed. Okay, good luck getting that. Who gets excited about Mount Chelsea? Chelsea's saddest days where Roman had to sell the club and sacking of Tuchel. I think that video, I didn't take it down. I cried like a baby reading Roman's farewell message, goodbye message to Chelsea fans. I couldn't hold it. And a lot of people cried too, because we didn't know that day would come ever. Man City will not dominate forever. Yep. Yeah, I think they will not. That's just the truth, guys. Let's keep liking and subscribing to this channel. We promote and support this project best by bringing more people to be part of it, part of the conversation. So kindly invite more people. Yeah, please do that so we can grow. And we need a good. We need a goalkeeper with a long span, even with being linked to shot goalkeepers. Yeah, if Kite is the issue with keeper, why are we being linked with shot goalkeepers? And in there, because people see you on the panel and you know who I'm talking about. People in the chat really overthinking things. A lot of people overthink things. Well, coach, if Kepa is between the sticks, we will be lucky to get top six. We have other things to talk about. I don't want to get to that argument. Chelsea have now submitted 85 million for Caicedo, according to Ecuadorian journalist Diego Arcos, 75 million upfront and 10 million add-ons. Clubs are discussing how the add-ons can be achieved. I think they will be asking a lot, believing that Chelsea will win quite a lot. Unfortunately, people, I will scroll.
How much do we go up to, in your opinion?
I think 85 is fine. Honestly,
what happens if they want 90, 100? Do we say no then?
It now comes down to how much we want him. So yeah. I'm not too sure what to say. Unfortunately, people, I'm going to scroll past quite a lot of what you have here. There's quite a lot. City only have Foden. He's not a guaranteed starter as well. But when it comes to Chelsea, this will be a problem. You could say there are other players that have left Manchester City. What's his name? Sancho left them for playing time. No, let's talk about young players that left them. Sancho, one of them. I think there's another player. That's another player. Who was that? Lavia left them for playing time. So not just Chelsea. It's just because we are, you can say, we're immersed in our own situation that we don't look at things from. We don't see things as Chelsea fans. City fans would give you names of young players that have left them, just like the young players have left us also. There will be a fan riot against Bali if we again finish 12th this year. However, I'm happy that none of pictures show Bali sharing, staring on training beach with Poch. Okay, I heard Champions League spot from England will be increased to 6. 5 or 6. What year? Not. But we're not going to be part of the next edition for sure. Chelsea won Diogo Costa, and agent Jorge Mendes is on it, according to a baller via the Daily Mail. I think we've heard that for a while right now. Let's see. Link, please. Then you have to contact me via Twitter. We don't share links in the chat here. A lot has happened. Reach out via Twitter, then I'll add you to the panelist group. We actually need new panelists here. Mamadasville is now linked to Bayern Munich for me, Diogo Costa from Porto, as they need to sell and keep in line for FFP. How good is he on the feet? I know he's a good shot stopper, but I haven't really paid attention to Costa's ability on the ball. We need that, honestly. That will go along with for us under Mauricio Pochettino.
All I'm saying is, Coach,
go ahead.
Be careful what you wish for, because you know what you have with Kepa, especially distribution. You're right. Under Poch, distribution is integral from the back. So
yeah, it will be key.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's see what happens. Eddie, go ahead.
I can see, based on Poch's history, I can see Chelsea becoming a very shall we say, a very defensive, statistically speaking, oriented team where we hardly concede that many goals. And I think he'll impart impart that onto the team, and he's done that historically at Southampton and also at Tottenham. So the age-old question is, who do we have to score? Because that's our Achilles heel. So I think with this keeper, listen, when you have someone like Kepa or Mendy, I'm using both of them, not just Kepa. Both of these keepers are good enough to have a top 4 defense. You know, so and when you consider, it's just the fact that when you look at our expected goal or XG, when you look at it, how negative it is based on the chances created, this is our dilemma, not our defense.
And Eddie, just quickly, thank you for all the updates. I just read something similar to this from somebody there, but thank you again. I appreciate all the updates you send me. Preparing for the show would have been much difficult if not for your assist. Let me just put it that way. Remember, Kepa's first season was sorry. Even Willie and Pedro up front. Even Kante was putting loads of goals away. It was goals galore. The Achilles heels was Kepa then and now. Wow, some argument right there. Chelsea paying money to them. Players have to respect the Chelsea. Rain, I like your name. But just let's move from that, Rich. You're not gonna win. Next, Paul Messon believes that Tottenham's Hurricane is the type of signing that would take Chelsea to another level. Oh yeah, that's no argument. But are we able to get him? I'd say not in a zillion years. That makes sense. Happen. It's never going to happen for multitude of reasons. As Roger would prefer to say, for a myriad of reasons. We will make it to cup final and beat United. Then Mount and Onana will cry. James will offer them a napkin. Okay. Let's see it happen. Costa still great in the air, in spite of being the same height as Kepa. Okay, that's some argument here. Kepa is 6'2". Okay, Chelsea want to activate the release clause of 10 million for Roma forward Paulo Dybala, according to Italian journalist Matteo De Santis. I think he's experienced. I would take Dybala anytime, any day. He's a fine player. You could say underrated. Actually, I wouldn't mind Dybala. Honestly,
how much is the release clause, coach?
10 million.
Seriously?
Am I seeing double here? 10 million. He's good. But how old is Dybala now? Actually, how old is Paulo Dybala?
I'd have to look it up. I'd be lying if I gave you a number, but I can't believe 10 million. I mean, the backup tea lady is worth more than that. Seriously.
Paulo Dybala age. Let me see. 29. That's we need experience too. So that will go a long way. Yeah, he's a fine finisher. He can create.
For 10 million, coach. Seriously, that's a steal.
That's a steal, yeah. 29 is not bad. Players these days play up to 33, 34, and it's still, Gonzalo, Caicedo, no, we're not looking at him. Please, any update, coach, about transfer news? That's what we're doing here. If you've been paying attention, we've been talking transfers. That's not the same thing as Santiago. Okay, you're having a conversation with somebody there. Bolly is not even taking selfies with new sponsors or Man Airways. That's the way to go. Yeah, he's reduced his involvement. He's very good with his feet.
No
is he really? Are you talking about Eddie? You're talking about Diogo Costa. Okay, I prefer him to Onana. Onana will make some costly mistakes in the Premier League. That is very common with every goalkeeper that's good on the ball. Sometimes, every now and then, they do make mistakes. Yeah. Italian journalist Alfredo Pedula, Chelsea are no longer interested in signing Savic Milinkovic. I think you're talking about Milinkovic Savic, who has agreed to join Juventus. Okay, good luck to him. Look at this, coach. Look at what did you share a link? There are many good unknown goalkeepers in England. Losing Onana is nothing to worry about. What's the view about the Dibu Martinez? I like him. He's Argentine. Poch can convince him, and he's one of those goalkeepers, and I'm not too convinced with regards to how good they are with the ball. Coach, this is the problem with Chalobah. Just look at his picture on your screen for 13 minutes, and everyone is stuck in Kepa. Okay, bye-bye, Chalobah. Unnoticed, underrated. I think that's a good comment there. He does have a low release clause, though. Yeah, that's shocking. According to Football London, Chalobah is open to leaving Chelsea. Yep, we've talked about that. And Fangwa, CJ Fangwa, Ivan Toney in January, or take a punt or Mitrovic. I'd go with Mitrovic. I would not advocate my club signing any player that betted against his own club to lose games. Even that's not okay, really. Any hope Coach of Broya stays, and that's my opinion at this point. So Chilwell, if he misses his mate, he can join him. Milankovic, Savic, and Dybala, good experience. But let's see what the club does. No Dybala, coach. If you watch Serie A, you know that's a waste. I think I like him from what I've seen so far, what I know about him. His Juventus does and all that. All right, let's see what else people are having a conversation there. Whatever comes of a Chalobah, we shall let it in. Mount is a betrayer, according to you. Costa, great with his feet. Really? I didn't know that. Roger forgot Dybala went from Inter Milan to Roma for free. 10 million is okay for Dybala.
No, I didn't forget. I didn't know.
But still, even at that, 10 million is not bad. Diego Costa is poor on the air. Morocco daunting him at the FIFA World Cup, but that's just a single incident, really. But you want to judge him, his abilities on that incident? Chelsea considering the move to sign Serge Milinkovic. SMS, they're saying he's decided to join. Juventus. Go ahead, but you were saying something, Roger.
So you mentioned just briefly that, when you play with your feet a lot in the Premier League, you're bound to make mistakes, correct? That lead to goals. But remind me, when's the last season, that this actually transpired with Kepa? When you have a look, yes, did he make a few mistakes?
You know why they're judging him? I'm sure you know why. Because of the long-range shots and all that.
Yeah. But then again, as I said, if you look at that semi-final in the Champions League, you have two of the world's best goalkeepers, and they both conceded shots from outside the box. So, as I said, when you have a perfect shot, there's no goalkeeper in the world that can stop it. Mm-hmm. And that's what you need to understand. And you're talking about two goalkeepers with huge wingspans. So, but you have a look at the amount of times that Kepa played with the ball from the back, and he minimized his mistakes when you compare to most other goalkeepers in the Premier League. So this is what I'm trying to say. But only based on last year.
I just wish you applied that logic when a lot of people were judging Jorginho, not counting the amount of times we play through him, and compared to the ratio of the mistakes he's made.
His mistakes were costly, though.
All right, Roger, you win. I don't want to get into the goalkeeper argument. I will never get into the goalkeeper argument with you because I can't
Jorginho.
win.
I'm talking about Jorginho.
I know. But that's me. I referenced that for a reason, and I know you understood that. Roger, what's the tea ladies? Why did I read that? I'm gonna move on from that one. I must admit, I like the way I'm moving on from that one. I'm not reading that one. Go away.
That's funny.
Is França joining the first team? I'm not too sure what the club does with him. At this point, I actually don't even know him that much. You could say to present, you could say an effective argument with regards to why Chelsea should, you could say, integrate him into the first team. We're moving slowly in this transfer market. I'm getting worried. That's the same thing I hear every transfer window from Chelsea fans.
I'm not convinced. Why? We don't need to. Our main objective is to actually reduce our squad size.
Yeah,
that's our main objective.
Yeah, I agree with you. We activate the release clause and sell Dybala back to his team for 5 million premium. Go away, please. Thoughts on Bono? Sevilla have a series of financial issues. So many. He could bring a great competition for Kepa, who I'm shocked is still at my club. I don't know Bono. I don't know him that much to present an effective argument with regards to that. Not correct. SMS not yet joining Juventus. He's still available on the market, and Chelsea considering him, but would be later in the window. Okay, big up to you, Kishan, my New York bro, and Eddie, thank you for that update. I appreciate you, Kishan, for joining. I hope you're doing well. I thought Garnacho would get that 7 over Mount. Okay, I'm not too sure. Roger, stop criticizing J5. That's a warning, Roger. You see that on the screen? That's
whatever, Trevor. Whatever.
Fans want everything to happen in one day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've heard that every season, so I'm not shocked. Big up to you too, Mark Cardozo, Bamfordinho. Nice to see you, brother. Why should we bring Dybala whilst we can keep a Pulisic and give him an extension? No, we actually want him to extend, but he's refused to do that. As of today, J5 is still better than what we have presented as our midfield. Okay, at present as our midfield. But that's by the way. I'm going to move on to that. Let's see what else we have lined up here. We need to round off as soon as possible. We should have rounded off like 20 minutes ago, actually. I'm surprised somebody hasn't come to me. They're not trying to break down the door. Maybe they are laughing. Still Chalobah, breaking news. Newcastle United are considering making the move for Trevor Chalobah. I think somebody in the chat have already said that. This is the key question here. Chelsea are having contacts in these hours for Matthias França. Chelsea have a budget for these Brazilian talents. Chelsea convinced going on loan can make a huge profit or stay in the Chelsea first team. França undecided whether he will go on loan or stay with Pochettino. So, they're giving the player the option. That doesn't make sense to me. It's not up to the player to decide. But Roger, what do you make of this one?
So what's he saying? I can't read. Hold on. What does it say?
This makes it sound as if it's up to him to decide whether he stays with Chelsea's first team or go out on loan. There are factors to consider. This kid is just 19. Right. Work permit. I know they've changed the rules. I don't know with the current rule whether he can easily get a work permit, but this doesn't make sense. Let me read it again. From here, it says Chelsea have a budget for these Brazilians. Chelsea convinced going on loans can make huge profit or stay in the Chelsea first team. Okay, here's where it gets confusing. França undecided whether he will go on loan or stay with Pochettino. It doesn't make any sort of sense.
I think Poch would have something else to say about that.
Poch, work permit, and all that. And also, Poch covers the aspect of his performance and how good he is. But go ahead with what you were saying.
No, I don't think it's up to him to decide. I doubt it very much. I mean, it's possible. I just doubt it very much. I think it's up to the coaching staff.
I doubt it. It just doesn't make sense.
No. It's the inmates running the asylum then. And trust me, we have an asylum.
I'm not sure what Glenn is referencing here, which I understand. I wish I understand. I would have enjoyed that. He forgot to add at pointing fingers. I think he's referencing something else they're talking about in the chat there. Poch has already said he only wants players to stay. Who wants to be here? Yeah, I agree with you. And that's one thing I like. Are we bringing in Osimhen? Not too sure. Not too sure if we're even going to sign any striker this window, but that's just my opinion. Our Giants of Milan have now made a fresh attempt to sign Chelsea's Christian Pulisic and have increased their offer for the player because there are other clubs that are interested. Coach, our hamstring coach is having job insecurity concerns and is trying to join AC Milan together with Pulisic. There's nothing we didn't do to help Potter succeed. And other coaches actually, another experienced player going that wants to go, signing young Brazilian will certainly help us. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Daddy Daycare at this point, where's Eddie Murphy? Oh, that's a good movie, by the way. Here's the thing. I think we're not signing them for them to be part of the first team. It's just part of the vision, the 2030 project and all that. Offer for Pulisic is 18 million. Leon offered 21 million. That's a 3 million difference. These Italians are cheap. They don't have money. Yeah, no chance of Osimhen. He doesn't want to come. You could argue that for some reasons, very obviously reasons maybe. Pulisic note. Let's see what else we have here. Lautaro Martinez wants to join Chelsea and play under Pochettino, according to reports. So at this point, all just rumors. Pochettino wants 4 centre backs in his first season. However, if no solution can be found for Chalobah, all parties are happy to continue working together at Chelsea. Okay. Here's my friend here, Kalita, saying, okay, we have Fofana, we have Silva, we have Kowa, we have Badeshile by Chalobah.
And don't forget, you also you have, as an emergency play, you also have Cucurella that can play there too.
In a back three, as a left centre back.
Yeah, but even in a back four in an emergency, he still will be better than the alternative with no one. Does that make sense? He's like,
it does. Go ahead, Roger.
I'd call it 0.5. Let's put it this way. We have 5.5 centre backs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, but a makeshift defensive line will always be a risk.
Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying that there's some versatility there to a certain extent.
Yeah. And let's see if Poch will actually at any time consider playing with the back three. We don't know.
I think
but let's see.
It's going to be a hybrid, coach. We're going to play with a 4-2-3-1, but then with possession, you're going to have someone like a Caicedo that will drop into the back three, and you're going to have you're going to be a 3-2-4-1, if that makes sense. That's what most people have intimated.
Look at what this bro is saying, that if our vision is to have all South American teams, I am down for it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Keisha, Osimhen will most likely extend. Yeah, it sounds like it. Because De Laurentiis, that's the Napoli president, he said publicly they have an offer on the table for him, and they're sure he's going to sign, except if they get something out of this world, something to that effect. I don't think Osimhen goes for cheap. They paid 80 million euros plus for him, something north of that. So selling him, they would want to make profit. That's who De Laurentiis is. No to Lautaro Martinez. We need a target man. No more mobile strikers. No more. You can say. Yeah. Even if that, you can have a target man that can still be a mobile. They can still mobile. They can still be able to drop deep and participate in the play. You can say. You can say the likes of Harry Kane. If that makes sense. But I get your argument, bro. Santiago Mono. This guy, Carlito, shaking my head. It's very strong. He's my friend. I like him and I respect him. But he doesn't, you can say, spare anything if he wants to express himself in terms, again, his opinion. Malang Sarr still here. He's injured. We can't sell him. So he counts as the center halves we have. And there's a chance he balls under Mauricio Pochettino. He's so young. I think people judged him unfairly. He was 21 at the point.
Yeah. He's very poor on the ball, though, coach. Now,
is he
right.
really?
But listen, you're right, though. The last time I saw him play for Chelsea, that's a couple of years ago, and he was young. And yes, you can improve, and you can apply yourself better, the application-wise. I agree with you. You do. If you're coached correctly, you can improve. But you're not going to mistake him for a Messi on the ball. You know, he's like Bambi on ice. He's a bit somewhat scary. I'm just being honest, but
no, I agree. I think he's what's the language? It's
there's a reason we got him
the sort of mistakes that Zuma makes.
Yeah, Zuma. You can't compare them. Zuma aerially was dominant, coach. Yeah, on the ball, Zuma is a bit like Bambi on ice, but that's not his forte. But he gives you so many more attributes. He dominates aerially, both defensively and offensively. Kurt Zuma does. So Sarr doesn't do that. So I wouldn't even compare the two. That's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Any day.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
I was disappointed he departed because, as I said, if you look at our centre backs, they're extraordinarily talented. However, going forward, scoring wise, aerially especially, they're inept.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Roger. Coach, did anyone notice Pulisic give an interview sitting on his bed and handcuffs hanging?
What? What? This is a
I
children's show.
knew it. The reason for injuries. I'm not going to talk about that. Just go away.
Wow, JC.
Oh my gosh.
This
I'm
is a
not
family show.
interested. You're my friend, but please don't do that to me again.
That's funny.
You become my enemies. Don't get me to read such things. Since Martinez want to join Chelsea, the owners won't see.
Damn. Guys.
Oh my gosh, the owners won't see this great spirit. I am done. Am I the only one that's worried about our squad depth going into the next season? Should I be worried? I don't think it should be. I think we'll be fine. I think we still have depth, but in the forcing will always be only 25. And if need be, we can pull from somewhere else.
Coach, did you realize that we probably still need to get rid?
Get the required number of players needed for the entire season. Soon, we'll tell goalkeepers to play as wingers. Go ahead, Roger. You were saying something.
Yeah, I don't think we should be worried about who comes in. Apart from maybe one, possibly two midfielders, you're going to have to look at the fact that what's so funny.
Roger, I'm sorry. What did Jesse do to me? I can't get that picture off my head.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
But go ahead, Roger.
Thanks for the visuals, huh, JC? No, it's just, if anything, we have to lose another 6 to 8 players, whether that be going out on loan or selling or terminating the contracts. You know, you have people like, I'm trying to think now. We still have Pierre-Emerick we have to get rid of. You know, obviously, you're looking at, what's his name? Pulisic, that is going to, in all likelihood, depart. Also, Aspie is going to depart. Rahman's left, hasn't he? Malang Sarr's probably needs to go. Tino Anjorin, you know, dare I say this word, Lukaku, you know, Callum Hudson-Odoi. We still have to, shall we say, lighten the squad by 6 to 8 players. And by the way, when I say 6 to 8 players, I'm talking about the net effect. You know, regardless of who we bring in, has to be a net effect of reducing the squad. Because Poch has stated that, and I saw an interview, I told you, with one of his previous assistants a couple of months ago. He doesn't want a squad bigger than 25, 26 maximum. He prefers 23, 24. But let's say 25, 26, that means you're going to have to put players out on loan. We've already reduced the squad by 10, a net amount of 8, you know, whether that be termination, loan return, or sales, etc. But there's another 6 to 8 players that need to go. We do need depth, 2 in every position at the very least. But listen, another player is Slonina. He needs to go out on loan because I don't.
Again, he can play in cup games and all that, but he needs to play.
No, he needs to be
at his age.
At that age. Yeah, that age, he doesn't need to be a backup. He needs to be playing week in, week out because it's integral to his development in that position. So this is the one thing the fans should be expecting, not for us to acquire more players, you know, with the exception of maybe 1, possibly 2 midfielders, but actually you know, reducing the squad. This is what we need to. This has been detrimental to Chelsea since January because we had what I think 8 players come in, if I'm not mistaken. You know, in that window, January window. Yeah, it was 8 players at a cost of 322.6 million. So
yeah, let's see.
That's where the concentration should be, not in the acquisition, but the actual departures.
Yeah. Let's see whether any Premier League club can afford Victor Osimhen. I think Newcastle can. It will be another statement signing from them. Sadly, our beloved Baba Rahman has left. Yeah, and I've cried my heart out since yesterday, if that makes sense. Who else wants Haaland versus Osimhen? I want that to happen, but what Premier League can afford him? I think it's only Newcastle at this point. Zuma was
United, coach. United. United
do you
can
think they
afford him.
can?
In fact, yes, because of their deep pockets, because of their revenue streams. That's why. In fact, I saw something about Newcastle where they can only afford, assuming that they don't sell any more players, they can afford a net spending of 75 million currently right now, based on their FFP. So I don't think they can afford him either.
Yeah, I agree with you. Zuma was bought until his flamingo knee injury against Liverpool was there.
That was a brutal injury, coach.
Yeah, it was.
All alone.
Never forget that sound and his
Yeah.
scream. I think he was good. I think before Terry's retirement, I think he was one of those players that saved Terry's mistakes, lack of pace. That made up of Terry's lack of pace during that time. Yeah.
Look at him for West Ham. If you've watched West Ham at all, it's like, look how dominant he is aerially. In fact, he's even better for West Ham aerially than he was for Chelsea. You know, don't forget the knee was strengthened, which is invariably what transpires when you have major knee surgery. I would welcome him back in a heartbeat. Yeah, I understand he's Bambi on ice with the ball, but aerially, this is where we need to improve. Scoring goals off corners, which we've been inept in the last year and a half. I think he has so much to offer. A player of that ilk, I'm talking about. And this is where we need to improve.
Yeah, Matthias França, perfect for Chelsea. Evolution, Nina, thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. We don't have 180 million. We don't. Man United fans are in stitches as Bruno Fernandes posts an angry message welcoming 60 million Mason Mount to United, according to The Sun. Does anyone know any? I haven't seen the angry message. What does that mean? I don't know. If we let Lukaku go, that will be about 3 players. It's one of those days. I want to go to heaven, and you offer people, Glenn. You know, Glenn 10. Let's see what else we have here. Something from Chelsea. Any breaking news there? Let me see quickly. Presenting
Coach,
this unmistakable for this one. Sorry,
Coach. I'm not familiar with that Mateus Franco. I'm not familiar with him at all.
I don't know. I just started hearing this name because we're interested in signing him. But he's one of those players. Good dribbler, pace, eye for goal, creator. I think you need to. I think it's pronounced França because the C has something under it. Somebody told me in the chat it was pronounced. It's pronounced França. Yeah.
Right. I know nothing about him, Coach.
I started looking at his clips. I think you should. I think you will like him. Inter Milan asking him for another loan with an option to buy. Option? Did I hear option to buy, but want to pay in installment? I think it was obligation to buy. I think we've talked about that. Just feel Naples or Brighton or even Inter, they're not always easy when it comes to transfer windows. Yep, I agree with you. Buying players from them are too greedy. God help us. And Chaco Zim, John, you can reach out on Twitter so I can add you to the panelist group since you want to be part of the panelists. I do that in a habit. Once I get your message or connection request, if that makes sense. Glenn 10, let's see. We need Brazil players. Ninad, okay, thank you for saying that. Bruno Salto to stay on the porch. Yeah, we've talked about that. Pochettino, according to the Evening Standards, some traces of Porter still at Chelsea. Roger must be happy. Roger only defends his Porter's lawyer, not Bruno's lawyer.
Yeah, you talk about the goalkeeping coach. Yes, Bruno.
Is Salto the goalkeeping coach? No. Salto was the guy that managed us against Liverpool, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're correct.
But also the goalkeeping coach stays too.
Yeah, in fact, the goalkeeping coach is actually going to be the senior member of the goalkeeping coach, which shocked me. So,
that's the thing. You can say everything about Potter wasn't bad. We did that under Roman. We fired managers and retained the backroom staff.
Yes,
it has happened.
It's good
Except the only manager we fired and let everybody that came with him leave is Conte.
Yeah, the good thing about it is it carries on continuity. You have continuity in the position. It's like the NFL. The head coach, yeah, it's important, but what's more important than the head coach is the defensive and offensive coordinators, as they're called. And so you have positional coaches like goalkeeping coaches. Look, we have a throw-in coach. Nowadays across leagues, these positional coaches are actually even more important to the players on a day-by-day basis than the actual head coach per se. So when you actually continue that continuity, that's very important for the players, especially at a young age developing.
Yeah, and Chico's asking our name on Twitter. Our name is the same everywhere on Twitter. So please just check for that. Yeah, Roger, I think you're very, 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 very correct. We're about to round off in a minute. Please, your name on Twitter, just search for Chelsea Perspective. On Instagram. The same thing. At least they fired the mental health coach or whatever his role was. I swear, we got worse the minute the guy got hired. What if I tell you he probably was the reason why we were able to scrape results and not get relegated? But I'm just kidding anyway. That's the Potter era will always be remembered for, you can say, multitude of reasons. Caicedo had an agreement with Brighton before signing his last contract that they'd let him go if a reasonable offer came in. Here's the thing with the word, let's say reasonable offer, the two-word reasonable offer, it could be 10 million, it could be £1 billion. Am I correct? Am I wrong, Roger?
How much?
Reasonable offer.
Yeah.
You could ask Brighton and say what's reasonable to us is £1 billion.
Yeah, it's that they worry me.
Yeah, it's more like saying I'll see you. I'll get it done soon. Soon could be the next hour, next week, next year, next 10 years. Yeah, but go ahead with what you're saying. But it's common. I get it. It's common sense here. A gentleman's agreement. You don't have to abide by it. But go ahead, Rosa.
I'm really concerned about our evaluation of players. I look at. Listen, I know it's one season, but and if I have to categorize Cucurella as a success, a failure, or yet to be determined, I would have to say it's a failure. Yeah, you could say possibly yet to be determined, but he had a poor season based on the fact we paid £62 million for him. That's an awful lot of money for a player that was their best player of the year the previous season, if I'm not mistaken. So their evaluation of what they put on, it's like, listen, City weren't prepared to go over 40. You can conversely say that who did play well last year for us, and I agree. But I'm worried with the fact that they're going to take us to the cleaners again, and they're going to ask for 90, 100. And actually, to be honest with you, I think Caicedo is someone we can't afford not to buy. I know it's a double negative, but we need him more than the fact that we don't. Because
he has to be one of our most important signings this window.
Yeah, because of the three players that we've lost in midfield in the last 6 months or so. It's vital. This is the engine room of the team, and I think if we don't get Caicedo, then we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you. This here from AD Love for Blue, my bro says Matthews. I think it's Matthews. Matthews of France looks a very exciting player, very skillful, can play across the front line, good with both feet. Yep, I've seen a little bit of that. Our former mental head coach now has a burnout. Took us 10 points are the only reason we survived relegation. I'd be shocked if I didn't see that today. No, the offer was compared to a name. I cannot remember the name. Was 70 million. Okay, if they have a specific number, then that's fine. If not, then Brighton can say they want 150 million, and it's still you could say a good offer. They'd love to bust. What do you say there against? But again, they cannot because of this agreement. You think so? Okay. If it's not written, and then it's a problem. Caicedo and Enzo CMs. Okay. Why can't we get at least one DM? I cannot stand players moving all over the place, and then if they don't perform, we blame them. I think you make a sensible. That's a sensible argument right there. We need a traditional DM to solidify our midfield so that they be, you could say, effective defensively. If that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. We've wasted too much time on Caicedo not to sign him, coach. Remember chasing Haaland all summer only to end up with your cousin. Roger, I'm sure you know what he means there. If this Caicedo turns out to be another Rafinha Kunde saga, I will snap. Good thing you live far away from me. when you snap, you only be in the chat there. You're not going to be close to me to punch me or anything. But that's by the way. Let's see what else we have here. It is understood that Chelsea are still working on finding a front of shirt sponsor, and it will not be Oman Air. While Oman Air appears to have become a partner of Chelsea of some sort, the brand's name and logo is not expected to appear on the club's shirt during the forthcoming season. This is one of those reports that I can't quite get my head around to understand what it's trying to say. Roger, I don't know what you make of it, but more importantly, we heard it will no longer be a stake, the controversial sponsor. I'm hearing. But your thoughts, Roger?
I can't believe we're at this juncture, this point in time where a big club like Chelsea, a huge club like Chelsea, still doesn't have a shirt sponsor. Mm-hmm. This is not a good reflection for us. The fact that we're actually in the conversation of having stake.com or whatever it is, a gambling entity as a possibility, this doesn't bode well. Well, you would like to think that we should have sponsors lining up for us. So this is a reality check, I guess, as one might call it.
Yeah, I think you make sense there. Roger, here's why I'm laughing while you were speaking. Why? I was complaining about going to hell. So Glenn sent me this, says your ticket to heaven, admit Glenn. He paid a lot of money for it. But that's, by the way, people, we've come to the natural end of the show, and it's been an excellent discussion. And Roger, very, very, very articulate as usual. That's why I always like to have him on the panel. But yeah, I get it. We're all busy, so he will not be here always. But whatever time allows, I appreciate him. Front shirt sponsor Trivago looks good, but I don't think they can afford that. Allianz offered 20 million. We turned it down. I don't think 20 million is okay for a club like Chelsea. Amrabat Caicedo would be incredible. How about is it Paulinho business? If that happens, I cannot understand why the guy isn't being considered. I'm not too sure. Nebo, hello to you too. I appreciate you. The club listened to CFC fans why they pulled the deal. It would have been a risky one. But Roger, your final thoughts and your thoughts on everything we'll discuss today.
Yeah, it's been a good show as always, Coach. No doubt about it, and it's always a pleasure to hear Bobby. And Bobby, I really hope you get better soon, old bean. Thoughts are with you as always. I'm just hopeful that the next couple of weeks, how shall I put this, that we diminish our squad by 6 to 8 players net, and that we sign Caicedo ASAP. I think that's integral to our success. I really do. I don't think we need virtually, assuming that we don't lose players like Chalobah, we don't need any more acquisitions for the most part. We really don't. I'd like for us to carry on with the players going forward that we have, with the exception of Pulisic and what's Ziyech, of course. I think with Jackson there and then Nkunku and Broja, if he comes back successfully, I think with no European football, I think this is a team that Poch can work with, and very young team. That's the only thing that concerns me, is the fact it's very youthful. I mean, to the extreme. but that could be a bonus to a certain extent.
It could be, and I think we'll still see a lot of outgoings.
Yeah, we have to. There's 6 to 8 players that they either have to go on loan or we have to terminate the contract or sell them. You know, there's. Don't forget, you know, we had 34 players, you know, before the season ended on the actual squad, and then we had 22 players out on loan. So this is an inordinately large squad. So technically, and that we need to have a squad at Stamford Bridge when the season starts where we have 24, 25, 26 players max. That's it.
Yeah.
Of quality, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with you. Todd only came to Chelsea to make money, considering this latest assured sponsor. Who wouldn't? What remains is to change into Emirates or Apple. That one will make him the richest owner. I think here's the thing: you must recognize he's just a part again. One of the owners. It's a group. It's owned by a group, not just him. But I think he got involved so much that people just call him. And I don't know how to phrase it or to come across effectively, but yeah, I get your point. It's business. How are they gonna pay the players and all that if they don't look for the highest bidder? Oman Air will be our official flying partner. Okay, that makes sense now. They have a code share. They have code share agreement with top airlines around the world. Enjoy the flight. So it makes more sense now. A lot of people think they are our sponsors because of what we saw. Amrabat is linked with a move to United. Okay, I didn't know that. Caicedo, Costa, and Cherki. I'd be happy. Rumors are that PSG are also interested in signing Cherki. Oko, I understand you, brother. The guy, Nashap guy. I think you meant Shap. As much as I love Mount, he really disappointed me leaving Chelsea in this manner. I've always defended him, even in bad times. He looked average of his 1 year left. He took advantage, so to speak. He took advantage of his 1 year left on his contract. Very bad business for all parties involved. We move on. So Roger, thank you so much, and I want to say thanks to Bobby, who was here on the panel with us, and thank you to Sharif. Thank you to Vic. Thank you to Create a Q, Chelsea all the way. Vic, my bro. Oko, I appreciate you. My in-law there. Neighbor, CJ Fangwa, I appreciate you all. JC was here also. Glenton was also, he's been here all the while. And to all of you, if I missed your name, apologies, I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all. And bye. And to my bro here, Coach, the talks with Caicedo only started this morning. Really? I didn't know that. Okay, that's concerning, really, if that's the case. And a big up to all of you. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Bye, Coach.
Bye, brother. Thank you.